What's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about what's been trending. When we have debates, a lot of times they last a few days. So we're going to continue with Serrano versus Taylor 2 and much more when we come right back. Welcome to another episode of Ringwalk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean, and I am so very happy to have everybody that's in the chat room right now. And my apologies, had some technical difficulties, something that rarely happens. So I appreciate you being very patient. We're going to get this show started here very, very soon. I'm going to jump right in. And then in a few minutes, I will allow the people backstage to come in so we can politic and talk different subjects. So what I want to start off with is I want to talk about Serrano versus Taylor 2. In your opinion, who won the fight? Uh, and let's talk about the whole spectrum. What we feel about the judges, uh, points, punches landed, just the whole spectrum of this fight. And how is it that Serrano lost the fight? That's my question. And some of you are asking the same question. And then again, some of you have opposing views and say that Taylor won. So it's always good to debate. So let's bring it to the floor. Yeah. Get the headphone. Earpiece. All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. See.
Kurt, you got the mic on?
Right. Can you hear me?
Turn the mic on. You working through it. Turn your mic on, brother.
You want him to turn on his mic?
Yeah, turn on his mic.
All right, I'm chatting. Turn on here.
Okay. What's going on, man?
Hey,
What's going down?
what's going on, Chief?
Oh, man. Hey, hanging tough, not too rough, man. Continuing to keep it up. You know what I'm talking about? How y'all doing tonight?
All right. Hey, can you hear us, Kurt?
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. All right. So let's jump right into it.
Okay.
Let's talk about Serrano versus Taylor 2, the rematch, and the outcome of it.
Well, go ahead.
No. Hey, I thought it was a pretty predictable fight. One thing I can say is they both are really two good, talented fighters, but they both have a predictable style. I guess maybe coming from a Pierce like me, who is very critical on boxing, he had a very predictable style. I saw the fight the same way I saw the first fight. I had Serrano winning by 3 rounds, but the same results happened as in the first fight. I mean, it was like identical. Only the cut was worse on the second fight than it was on the first fight. If y'all go back and look at it, pretty similar. I thought Serrano won by a couple of rounds. Yes, I thought Katie gave. I liked Katie's ending to any combination she threw. If you go back and look at the fight, whenever she threw her three-piece combination, for the most part, she landed her third punch, which I thought was very revealing. Like, okay, girl don't know how to get out of the way of her her right hand when she was throwing those combinations towards the end. But yet, I thought Amanda outworked her. I thought she established her presence in the ring, and Katie Taylor never did anything in that entire fight that made me have to say, "Oh, Amanda may be in trouble." Now, reverse roles, Amanda did do something just as she did in the first fight to make me say, "Whoa, Katie's in trouble." I thought that she won the fight, and I thought with that point being taken away, it was academic. But Katie Taylor is the champion.
I agree with his assessment. I think that it seemed like Taylor, did the little flurries. One thing I did like about her is she put her combinations together. That's one thing you can never say that she doesn't do is, throw
Yeah.
with combinations. And I think that's one of the things or one
And
of the
good.
reasons that
Uh,
boxing is in the state that it's
Nope, I
in
don't
is
hear.
because
Mm-mm.
people aren't throwing combinations. You got people loading up, trying to take somebody out with one punch. And Taylor put together some good combinations. She put her flurries together at the end.
Yes. Okay.
But at the end, I saw Serrano throwing the bigger punches. I saw her being a busier fighter. I saw her going
I'm not hearing
forward.
that voice though. I just heard some music. I don't know if you was doing it on purpose. I heard some
So
music in my right ear, but I
mhm.
didn't hear the
yeah,
actual
so
them.
it's just one of those things to where it's, and I don't think it's just us. I think it's everybody who was there. I mean, you heard the audience, the reaction of the audience. I mean, they were
Absolutely.
there, and they didn't have the color commentary, or the biased or non-biased of it. It was people who were just there to see the fight. And I got a buddy that's that was telling me, when I'm like, well, the crowd, said who won, but he was like, yeah, but it was in America, and they were pro-American. And I'm like, well, I don't agree with that because if that's the case, look at how many fighters have come here and had the crowd with a performance, and she just didn't garner that. And a good example of that is the way the crowd was pro Fury when he fought Wilder. He gave the performance, and the crowd fell behind him.
I mean,
So
I disagree with that, but I agree with everything you said for the most part. I agree with, but I feel like that crowd when that Fury Wilder fight, it was a crowd that was tired of hearing a man give them what they wanted. For
hmm
many moons, they kept always asking us, "Hey, be still, slug, fight, knock the fighter out." Well,
hmm
you got a guy that's doing that in Deontay Wilder. I'm not saying he's doing it the best. He's doing everything that y'all typically identify with, which y'all typically enjoy seeing in a heavyweight fight. He's giving it to you, and y'all hating for it. Uh, I never seen a certain crowd where maybe subliminally talking about enjoy a fighter who wants to hit and run and move around. They
hmm
typically want you to be still, stand there, and trade. I hit break your jaw, you break my jaw. I break your nose, you break my nose. I knock your tooth out, you knock my two teeth out. And whoever's still standing at the end is the man.
yeah,
It's just kind of funny to me how all of a sudden when Wilder was in that fight, because that first fight was kind of a merry-go-round, if you kind of remember. I never seen such a pro against him uh, in my life. I was very, I mean, America's fight fans have really, I try not to judge, let's just say, in that context anymore because they've done a lot of shaky things that I scratch my head on where they'll support someone that's not from here, but then they'll be against a person that's from here, all on what that particular person is. It's just,
I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and I
I
think
hope you do without saying any
yeah.
further.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everybody likes a great white hope. I mean, I'm putting it out there. Everybody likes a great white hope. And that's,
Let's keep
seriously.
it real.
Blacks have dominated boxing. Seriously, blacks have dominated, especially the heavyweight. When I checked it out, and actually I ran the stats. We had like 64 heavyweight champions. And, so you got to understand that with that domination of the sport at the time, I'm sure, it's funny because, even in the group, we all, identify with boxing. To some extent, there's tribalism. It is. I mean, think about all the One of my favorite fighters was Julio Cesar Chavez back in the day. But that was before the politics of the sport, and I've always said that, and it's funny because I get it to some extent how people thirst for somebody who looks like them, to
Hmm.
be on top. I mean, because you have to understand,
Absolutely.
the three of us, we've grown up and have been able to enjoy Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike Tyson, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler. I could go, dude. How long could we keep going and saying that people, by us just being 11% of the population, the lion's share of champions have been ours, especially when you get to the heavyweight. So
Oh, absolutely.
the tribalism's there, and I mean,
But that
do I?
sells and makes money too. That
Yeah.
brings the money in.
I mean, but that's why some people, live and die by the ginger guy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
but when you got a whole race of people and their pride on your shoulders, that's a lot to carry, man. That's a lot. That's a lot to carry. But moving back to the Serrano fight, man, I saw what you saw. I just, I saw a little more than that though, because one thing that the trainer said, or her corner guy said, was that she hadn't been cut in 50 fights, man. And in fights with Serrano, I mean with Taylor, Taylor's cutting everybody she's fighting with that head. And another thing that I saw was, not only did she cut her with the head, but when they got together in the clinch, she was digging her forehead into the cut. You
Yes,
know,
she
so
was. So that's a
so
boxing tactic, though.
yeah, yeah, it's a
I mean,
tactic.
unfortunately,
Yeah,
I mean, it
yeah,
is.
yeah, but I agree. It was a terrible decision. I mean,
I
awful.
think you pretty much summed it up right with your last statement. And I think that is always really the answer in boxing, even if the judgments go the other way. Is notice when we were speaking on Amanda Serrano, we were speaking on the tactician, the stalking,
Yeah,
the punchings, the
right.
many more punches. And when we both brought up Katie Taylor, the things that we came first to mind was the headbutt. It wasn't that she punched this or that she dominated that, or right there. I think that pretty much says who won, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
and our right, and all of our and yeah, Bean. I'm pretty sure. I think we had dialogue about it, to whereas you saw Serrano winning as well. So I think we're unanimous on that. Unfortunately, our opinion means nothing today. You-
Woo.
so yeah,
You ain't
yeah,
lying about that.
man, yeah,
But I'll say this one thing. I will say, touching on them too, because it's important. Um, what I will say is that Katie Taylor's a little older, but I go off of desire. I go off of capabilities. She seems. I, the one thing about the victory with her is I believe she'll fight the better fighters throughout the division, and I believe she'll willing to go up to fight other fighters in division. I do
so
not believe Serrano wants to fight the better fighters in the division or other fighters that technically she can make a lot of money with, and we would like to see her fighting. I think
uh,
she sees a lane for herself, and she's trying to keep that lane for herself.
well,
Well,
I
let me ask
mean,
you
but
this.
Serrano, how many
Something
divisions has Serrano captured though?
I think two divisions. I think two different divisions that she's
Yeah,
had,
I mean,
but
I don't know if you captured, multiple divisions by, hand choosing your opponents. To understand, Serrano is a lightweight. I mean, she came up to Taylor, without
right.
not mind. What is Taylor fight at 140,
uh,
147?
140.
She at 140, yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
and yeah, she a little light to go up to.
But it was the money that made her feel comfortable making that move with Taylor. You know, not to mention the situation that she's the umbrella she's up under. But there's other lightweights like Elisa Baumgartner. There's other lightweights that are right there right now that we've been kind of wanting to see you, Amanda, in particular, fight. You know, and you seem to not even been interested when these women have called you out. You said certain things to kind of pretty much let people know that, hey, she ain't trying to fight this person.
But
Where I
didn't
believe Katie would.
Didn't she blow hot though? I thought, didn't she blow dirty?
She did blow dirty from what I understand, but I also recall that she proved that she didn't because she got to keep her belt. That whatever she took, she got away from it to some degree, and she was able to still fight and keep her belts. So I'm thinking to myself, yeah, she does need them though. Don't get me wrong. She needs them. They don't need her.
Right.
So I get the game. I see the whole scenario. And for that alone, of course, like you said, she blew dirty. That put her in an awkward position. But this is the thing for me, like I think with women, and it reminds me of back with Layla Ali when I was last speaking on this topic. Y'all are not in a position to be telling people that you're going to duck them. Y'all are not in a position to be acting like this isn't of interest and that's of interest, and let's wait to see this fight marinate thing. Women's boxing isn't the most popular, and it's only starting to get a few little bit popular over the last year and a half or two. So and it's not like you can make a fight last a year or two before you fight each other. That can't happen. The growth of the sport is between y'all fighting one another. You know, y'all boxing one another and boxing one another rapidly, not waiting around for it. So you running for money, you're not going to get it from somebody else that I could get fighting you.
In other words, you can't do what the boys do right now in the sport.
Not in this moment in this sport, because everything requires attention for you ladies right now. All type of manners of what y'all do can be a drawing, and y'all don't have those. The money differential ain't big enough difference in the women's boxing where y'all talking about y'all ain't fighting each other.
Roger,
that's all I'm saying.
I agree.
You know. So it just throws me off.
So let me ask y'all this. I was also seeing something pertaining to Serrano about her possibly considering a fight with Caroline Dubois, Daniel Dubois' sister.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead, please.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything, but I haven't had enough looks at it to really have an opinion at all.
Yeah, get a chance. Look her up, man. She be putting it down.
She's decent. Okay.
Yeah. I think Dubois could beat her. I think I would favor Dubois if they fought each other. But I will say this: I don't think that Serrano's going to fight her, and until the contract signed, that and only then will I believe it. I don't even want to say why, but I don't see Serrano fighting anyone other than Katie Taylor.
How old is she?
I think she's 35 or 36.
Yeah. I mean, so she's up there age-wise.
Yeah. To a degree, yeah, but she always seems to fight a certain fighter every time. I mean, even if the fighter's a champion, even if the fighter's a contender, even if the fighter's a bum, even if the fighter a good person, they always seem to be the same type of fighter, with the exception of Katie Taylor. And that Dubois fighter lady would be something a little different, and I just don't think that she would fight her. That's all I'm going to say.
You talking about Serrano?
And it could have been. It could have been, the typical publicity clout stunt.
Yeah, but to me, it just feels like Serrano's done enough. I mean, I know we talked about who she's fighting next and so forth, but I mean, she's already, it's almost like, I mean, she was going up to 47 or 140. And she's already captured everything up under. I know, Baumgartner won a piece of it, but, like we said, she, whatever happened with her blowing dirty, you know what I'm saying? Then that's what it is. I just think that I just think that she's done enough that I don't think that she's the person that I would be putting under the microscope right now. Just she the one that got cheated. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
I don't get me wrong. I agree with that wholeheartedly, right? But we all know Katie Taylor won't be back before late next year.
right, right.
Late next year, if she fights at all. And Serrano, granted, you do got to cut. Yeah, you can heal, but I go off a lot of what people actually say. I go off a lot of what people's verbal mannerisms is, and when I hear someone trying to lean towards, well, I got my bag. I did this for women's
Right,
boxing.
right, right.
I did this. I got my bag. Okay. We knew you got your bag last time too, boo.
Yeah, I get it.
You got your
But
bag last time too. So why every time somebody's asking you to fight someone, you talking about a bag?
but and that's something that I personally feel. I think that at 36, I just think that that's retirement age. I've never seen anybody besides maybe Bernard Hopkins, do better in those later years. I mean, you have to deal with the reality that a 37-year-old fighter, which she would probably be her next fight, is a reduced version of what she once was. And I think that's one of the biggest knocks that I had on everybody with Wilder was you never really got to see him on the biggest stage prime. You dig what I'm saying? You got to see him when he was 34, 38, 37. And like I said, I mean,
I held
everybody.
that against Eddie a little. I used to always think Eddie always knew Anthony Joshua would never be able to beat Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, he couldn't
Not for
survive. He wouldn't survive it.
I
Yeah.
don't think that I didn't say Anthony Joshua felt that way. I said Eddie Hearn, and I
Yeah.
also felt that Eddie knew that Deontay's got the mental factor over AJ, and every time they fight, he will always have that mental, like threatening mental
The boogeyman. The boogeyman.
edge over him. And
Yeah.
in 2014, 2015, 2016, he was not letting that guy fight at that time, a Deontay Wilder. And that gets eluded a lot of times
Yeah.
through the journey of who AJ was because of his greatness. He did fight a lot of great fighters, but I think AJ always knew out of whoever I fight, however many I fight, this particular fighter I should not be fighting. And
Yeah.
as long
I
as I
agree.
got Eddie, I'm not fighting him.
Yeah.
And then by the time it was due where he couldn't keep running, he ran into an Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
In a
Well,
And
comment
mhm.
uh, about what you had just said, Church, the boxing
mhm,
source said, "No way."
Hmm. Oh
mhm.
yeah, I saw that. I mean, I felt, and being we've had, how many conversations we had about that, and like I say, to talk about Wilder now because he's less than a shell of himself, but when that right hand was that right hand, there it was no way that no, it was no way Hearn was going to put Wilder in front of AJ
But
because that was his money. I
but
mean,
let's think
Yeah.
about this though, bro.
hmm
So true, the right hand it started to develop and more polished when Mark Breland, when they saw
Oh,
that Wilder was
absolutely.
straightening up that right hand, they made that the weapon. But prior to
Yeah.
that, remember, Wilder was that haymaker swinging guy
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
his
Hmm.
body,
But
when he missed you, he overthrew.
yeah.
Hmm.
But
So you got
now,
to
but
factor in the fact that
that's
he had
something
sloppy tactics.
that's
I
something that I think that, and everybody said that, but the only time you really saw that dude throw the haymakers and all that, it was when he had you hurt and he was about to knock you out. He
I
wasn't run,
agree.
he wasn't running around throwing haymakers. His straight was or his right cross was his best weapon, and then he turned into a whole fool when he saw that you were hurt. That's
Once
when he
he
did
saw
the
you
win.
was hurt, the
Yeah,
craziness came about.
that's when
I
them
agree.
windmill and all that old foolishness, and
That's a very good answer.
yeah, and it usually worked because you were hurt, and it was almost like his version of all means necessary. I'm gonna do whatever. Hey, now it's a street fight,
Oh, can
and
you?
but
Hmm.
at that point, but I mean, I just think that. his biggest, I think that one of Wilder's biggest problems, to be honest, with me personally, and I know that most of the people watching this will probably be from Updates, which is a heavily UK crowd, and they were, the whole thing on Wilder was he's trash, he's rubbish, he's garbage, and he wasn't a good boxer, but he was good at knocking people out. You don't accidentally just knock out, 50 something. How many knockouts he had? 40, 44, something like that. So, you don't accidentally knock out 44 pro fighters. The term tomato can is easy. I love to hear people, oh, they were all tomato cans as they sitting there on the goddamn phone punching buttons. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think there's any fighter that's a total tomato can. But what I can say is that I remember when Wilder, after every fight, he would call AJ out. After
Every fight. You talking about the 2014, the 2018 Wilder. That was when they should have fought, and that's everything you saying is the reason why I don't feel he was going to beat him.
Yeah, and then I think AJ did entertain fighting Wilder, but dig this. Then this is the fight that Wilder said that he turned down because he was like, when he fought Fury again, he turned down a deal to fight Wilder. But dig this. AJ finally wanted to talk to Wilder while Wilder still had the WBA, and AJ had just lost all three of his belts to Ruiz. So that's when they tried to broker this deal when AJ didn't have no hardware as a backup to if he lost to Ruiz again. So of course, why if somebody has
Kurt,
yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. He ain't gonna be on here very long. I want to let him speak real quick.
Okay.
Sure.
So, brother, Boxing Source.
You got me?
Yeah, we can hear you, brother.
We hear
all right. So first of all, we're getting something in reference to 2014 when Wilder's team wasn't even really talking about that in 2014. He was building up his way through the WBC rankings. At the time, he had the likes of Vitaly Klitschko, who had the WBC title at the time. Then it was pretty much on his way out. And then after that, that's when you had that WBC title vacated, and you had Stiverne and Chris Arreola fight twice.
Absolutely.
Now that's how Stiverne ended up winning the title. Okay. Now you fast forward, then you have Wilder versus Stiverne for that WBC title, where Wilder pretty much wins it. At that time, they were not talking about having a fight with Anthony Joshua. What they were talking about was having a fight between Deontay Wilder and Vitaly Klitschko. Because
I will halfway agree with you on that. You are kind of right.
I get what you're saying.
Hold on a second. But hold on.
Go ahead and finish here, please. Go ahead. Yeah, go for it.
When that was brought up, Deontay Wilder and Vladimir Klitschko had the same manager, who is Shelly Finkel, that's been in the boxing game for many years. And at that time, he said that Wilder was not quite ready for a fight of that caliber yet. So he was going to.
In your opinion?
No, I remember that.
There's
Finkel called him a baby champion.
It happened. I remember that.
There is no opinion because I can actually cite these sources.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. You go through 2015. Vladimir Klitschko loses to Tyson Fury for those 3 belts.
Right.
Okay? Then 2016, what you had was Wilder defending his WBC title in the Barclays Center. You had the vacant IBF title that was on the line at the Barclays Center, right?
Right.
After Wilder knocked out Spilka at the Barclays Center, you know who was in there stepping in the ring? Tyson Fury.
Okay.
Hold on. Did you say in 2000? Hold on. Did you just say in 2015 Klitschko and AJ fought for the title?
No. I said that Klitschko and Fury in November of 2015 fought for the title, which Fury defeated Klitschko for the unified titles. And
Right.
then after that, Fury, it took like 9 days for Fury to have the IBF title vacated. That's why you had Charles Martin win that IBF title in 2016 at the
Because
Barclays Center.
Deontay Wilder was the WBC heavyweight champion in 2015, wasn't he?
That's when he won the title over Vermont Severn in 2015.
But if he had that in 2015, how did Tyson Fury fight Klitschko in 2015 for the title then?
Because Tyson Fury was the WBO mandatory challenger for Klitschko's WBO, WBA, IBF titles. So he was one of those. So that's how that ended up happening.
Well, you do know that they were undisputed, right? You do know that he was undisputed. Klitschko was when he fought for Tyson. Tyson just happened to, with the drugs and the layoff, that took away his titles from him. He didn't actually lose them. He got stripped.
That's not undisputed. Undisputed is having all 4 titles.
Right.
In 2015, Wilder had the WBC at one point. And then Klitschko had the other 3 titles before he fought Tyson Fury.
Right.
When he lost to Tyson Fury, what happened days later was the IBF title got vacated. Okay. Now
the WBC as well.
No, Wilder still had the WBC title.
The only thing Wilder ever had was the BC.
Yeah, he only had the WBC.
He only had the BC. He never had more than.
You said Vitali, right? Because you said Vitali. Vitali had the WBC.
Way back before 2015, Vitali Klitschko had the WBC title. Then he retired. That's how the WBC belt got vacated, where Vermont Severn won it, and then Wilder beat Severn.
Right. Because Vitali never fought Tyson Fury. Vladimir did.
Vladimir did, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why you got the names mixed up. That's why I was stopping you. I wanted to also chime in on going back to what you had said about that in particular. Yes, Wilder was in 2015, and 16, and 17, and 18, as the gentleman at the top of me has stated, was speaking for AJ, wanting to fight him. But it wasn't in particular in terms of just wanting to fight AJ. He said, I want undisputed.
Yeah, and
so saying I want to
undisputed. It got to the point where he was real vocal about AJ. I mean, he was calling out AJ by name.
He was aiming for undisputed, but he didn't necessarily talk about AJ until AJ was in the picture in winning the world titles. Now,
well, no, he didn't really want to talk about AJ at all because AJ's a good guy. It was Eddie Hearn's mouth because AJ wasn't talking. It was Eddie Hearn talking.
Okay,
and he was trying to do deals. Go ahead.
That in reference to Eddie Hearn, because that's not the only time that a promoter has pretty much gotten away in big fights. It's particularly in the heavyweight division.
Well, I mean, Eddie Hearn has gotten away at every single big fight that he could have potentially made ever since he came into the bright lights ahead of his father for fighting. I mean, you know, the only his claim to fame is having the last fight that he just had, Usyk versus Fury. I mean, to be really honest, he's never really had that major super fight.
He's not even part of Usyk Fury. He's not part of Usyk Fury. Fury is Frank Warren. Usyk is who is that guy? Alex Krasniak. So Matchroom is not involved with Usyk and Fury in any sense.
Who?
You could probably say Taylor Serrano, since Serrano is under Matchroom or something like that, but that's Amanda Serrano is a Matchroom boxing fighter. I mean, not Serrano, Katie Taylor.
Yeah, hey, Church, you might have been thinking of somebody else. Eddie Hearn doesn't have Fury or Usyk. Eddie Hearn has AJ, and then Warren has Dubois.
No. I was saying, I was trying to say before I got cut off, Eddie Hearn couldn't make those type of fights with AJ because he was dropping the ball with putting fights because he was trying to promote fights over the internet instead of being quiet like a real promoter's supposed to. Go in the back room and let's get these deals done. He did it with Wilder. He should have been made a major fight with AJ and Wilder 2-3 years before Andy Ruiz fight ever materialized. You had a AJ versus Tyson Fury. He could have had the first shot at Tyson Fury well before before Deontay had, especially with both of them being British UK fighters. But he still dropped the ball with that as well. But no one wants to bring that up. No one wants to bring that up. Fury and AJ could have been fought, just like Wilder and AJ could have been fought. And I don't believe it's technically AJ at second towards the end. I don't believe AJ was preventing those fights. But at the beginning, I believe him and Eddie were very reluctant to have AJ fighting them fighters because he's mentally weak.
Hey fellas, where do y'all have AJ now instead of talking about what coulda, shoulda?
Well, let me interject one more thing, Kurt.
Mm-hmm.
One more thing before you ask that question, just to follow back on everything that was said. I always ask people if anything, Klitschko and Wilder were in the same era. They sparred each other numerous times. Mm-hmm. So he was very privy to who Klitschko was. So why did AJ fought Klitschko and Wilder didn't?
They didn't think Wilder was ready.
I'll
and
say
Wilder
this
had plenty of fights.
No, but I'll say this, right? Wilder had plenty of fights, but if you know the history of who Deontay Wilder really is, you'll know Deontay Wilder started boxing late.
So did AJ.
And Klitschko was his light coming into the pros, because Deontay Wilder didn't come into pros with any fanfare. He came into pros as a sparring partner for Klitschko. He was an Olympic bronze medalist who overachieved, that even win a bronze medal. To even win the bronze, he overachieved with that, because it wasn't particularly thought of that he was going to be someone. A lot of people who are real boxing fans know that the first time they really heard about Deontay Wilder wasn't through the Olympics. It was through Emanuel Stewart, who used to talk about him coming up in the ranks and how if he gets the right trainer, he's going to be a problem. He said that Fury and Wilder could be the biggest problems to the heavyweight division if certain things go a certain way. And this was back when Klitschko was champion. So a lot of people...
AJ started late too. People overlook that.
Not knocking that AJ didn't start late, but AJ was boxing far longer than Deontay Wilder was. That's why Deontay fought at such an older age, because I don't believe if Deontay was fighting at a younger age, he would have lasted as long as he has.
I'm looking at Michael Ware. Wilder openly admitted he turned down the AJ fight. You got that on there? But I've already talked about he turned it down when he didn't have a belt, and Wilder when he did lost to Ruiz. So the fight couldn't.
No, that wasn't it. That should have been the same. That should have been the same around that same time frame that Joshua beat Ruiz in the rematch. So
that's when AJ said he would not fight. He was not going to fight Wilder.
No,
he said that. He said that.
That's false.
That's not correct. That's not correct.
Oh, okay, tell me your version, because
hold on, Kurt. Kurt. Let's go through the timeline. Okay. December 1st of that year, right? Mm-hmm. You had the first fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury that ended up in a draw. Mm-hmm. Weeks later, you had the rematch between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz, where Anthony Joshua won those belts back. So at the time, what happened was when Anthony Joshua won those 3 belts back, you had that still had the WBC belt. Anthony Joshua went on First Take and clearly stated that he wanted to have that fight with Deontay Wilder for the undisputed heavyweight championships.
But Eddie Hearn was not going to let AJ have that fight, and you act like
they didn't do. That wasn't with paperwork. You're saying that he verbalized that he wanted to have a fight with him when he had been verbalizing it way before that. We're talking about an oral commitment.
That's not the issue. The issue was that you stated that Anthony Joshua didn't have the titles then when he clearly
exactly.
I didn't state that.
I stated it.
You stated it. I stated
They didn't. They wanted him as a backup. They didn't even. They were entertaining it while AJ didn't have any belts.
So,
How
but
did he talk?
no. That
All right.
but
Well,
okay,
I'll have to.
Yeah.
Hey,
Go
I'll-
to the
I'll-
timeline. You
I'll
gotta go
say this through the timeline. No matter what timeline you try to go on, the reality of any timeline is that
AJ wouldn't fight.
AJ does not choose who he fights.
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn does, and that's
Yeah.
a fact. And Deontay Wilder chose who he fights. That
I
is
don't
not.
think
It's a
so.
big
I don't-
difference.
no.
Hey, I'm gonna say this, man. I'm gonna say this, right? Go look into the history of each of these fighters. Each time they fought somebody, and look how the fights materialized. It wasn't because of AJ. AJ stayed in his comfort zone, which was England, fighting in England. He never once wanted to come over to the pond and fight any of them other greasy heavyweights, and that's a fact.
But
And
the
Eddie
same for
Hearn,
Wilder. He never. Wilder never went anywhere.
Time out, sir.
I would. I go ahead.
Time out.
Go ahead, bro. Yeah, I'll let you finish.
If you are a fighter that is
Mhm.
the most lucrative fighter within the division, and you're
Mhm.
able to get those most lucrative fights within that particular country where you're from, there is absolutely no point, if you don't need to go anywhere else.
I agree wholeheartedly. I agree wholeheartedly with that.
You could have, like, for example, Klitschko for a multitude of times didn't even leave Germany for fights.
Mhm.
Okay,
but the only reason he didn't leave Germany for fights is because he could not sell. This is the thing, man. It's even going on with the turkey season situations. You have fighters that may be good fighters, or fighters who have a lot of fighters that are watching in on these fighters, but they don't sell. So they're popular in their regions, but they're not drawing the world to watch them. And Wilder was drawing the world, and AJ wasn't. AJ was drawing Europe. AJ was drawing. Let me finish. AJ was drawing Europe. AJ draws Europe. That's why AJ fights in Europe. That's why you only see AJ fighting in Europe. AJ can't go nowhere but Europe to make some money. Let's just be real.
Where did he
You
fight
can
Ruiz?
like AJ.
Where did he fight Ruiz?
Who?
Hold on. Go ahead. No,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead and continue.
You said where he fight where?
Ruiz at?
Belize?
Ruiz.
No, he fought Ruiz.
Andy
Andy
Ruiz.
Ruiz.
He said, where did he fight Ruiz?
He fought. Hey, he fought Andy Ruiz as. Let's not forget, y'all. Let's be real here for a second, because if we're going to speak on Andy Ruiz, let's speak on it. He fought Andy Ruiz as a backup, and that was also a little freebie
No.
fight in New York to sell. To sell. What it ended up was a fight of the year, but Andy Ruiz wasn't marketed to fight AJ. He was a backup for AJ.
It was Big Baby Miller.
The fighter, right? And Big Baby got caught with steroids, so that was the main reason. Big Baby talked that fight over into America because he was bullying AJ mentally. He was bullying him. If y'all go back and look at the press conferences, he was bullying him. That fight was going to draw. That's why it was in New York. It would sell AJ over here, and it also would push all the people who Big Baby got. And excuse me, where's Big Baby from?
Yeah, I mean,
New York.
Hey, listen.
Yeah. Okay. So it would. Let me finish. But it's strictly business. So let's be real when we're going to speak this. It's business. It looks good for AJ to fight a New Yorker in New York, in America. Because why? People say, one, he doesn't like to fight over in America. Which better way than to fight a scary fighter who's big, who's from New York, who's going to sell this fight because he talks a good game. AJ's going to knock him out, and it's going to say, see, AJ came over here and beat a guy, so we can't say he can't make fights over here. That's what was the scenario, the narrative to be said. But Miller failed for steroids, and Ruiz, who was a better boxer than AJ, outboxed him to a knockout.
Yeah, but I mean,
okay, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You said something in reference to Deontay Wilder in his appeal in comparison to Anthony Joshua, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said something in reference to Anthony Joshua when he was, world champion and where he was fighting at. My question is, when Deontay Wilder was a WBC heavyweight champion, what other countries did Deontay Wilder fight in outside of the U.S.?
None.
He never fought nowhere but in Vegas, you know, the mecca of boxing. You know, he fought in New York. He fought in Alabama. And mind you, Deontay didn't have the same promotional. His drawings was what we were speaking on a little previously. He knocks you out. He gives the people what they wanted. Stand in there, slug, knock them out. Give me my money's worth. That was what made Deontay Wilder popular. He ain't do nothing boxing ability-wise that tuned you in. You tuned in because you was going to see a highlight reel knockout. And he's an American. And he became a champion. So we was looking at salesmanship. Big black fighter, champion, talks the good talk, brings the mighty right hand versus the Olympic gold medalist. It was a good sale. Polished, Queensberry. It was a good sale. We know the whole scenario, but someone deviated that from happening, and it was the scared promoter who did not want that fight.
It would have been a classic good versus evil.
Hold on a second, though. You're talking about Deontay Wilder and his supposed selling point in what he was supposedly doing over the course of his time as WBC heavyweight champion. But in reference to his overall drawing power, he didn't have that. Even with the whole thing with the knockouts, he didn't necessarily have that. Compare that to what's going on right now with Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank Davis goes to Atlanta, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Brooklyn, Barclays Center.
Absolutely. He sell out wherever he go.
And sells out every single venue.
Yeah, but Floyd got Tank in. His popularity came in because Floyd Mayweather ushered it in. And Floyd was the face. I mean, let's be real. He was when you're preceded by Floyd, then of course you're gonna have that kind of drawing power.
I believe I'll give you a halfway. Okay, I agree with you.
Yeah, but
may I interject?
I agree to that extent. I think
you're talking with someone that has actually been to multiple fights with Deontay Wilder, and those fights weren't sold out. Barclays Center on 2 separate occasions weren't sold out.
Who did you see him fight?
Well, I do agree with that.
Who did he fight? Who did he fight at Barclays? Where did it sell out?
I wanted to get to that, but
Luis Ortiz fight didn't sell out. The fight against Arthur Spilkin.
You said Ortiz didn't sell out?
That first fight.
The fight, the arena cut off. The arena was cut off at Barclays Center.
Whoa, hold on.
Go look into the records, man. Go look into the records.
Okay. Hey, but we wasted way too much time.
You're wasting time. Hold on, sir.
The show has to go on.
Kurt Lewis, you're wasting time laughing at someone that was actually at the venue.
Oh, Roger that. You were there and it didn't sell out. Roger that.
Okay?
All right.
I'm telling you that.
Okay. I mean, I think, you know, we have to be.
So you were there and you saw empty seats. You had a panoramic view, and you saw all around was like, man, it's Roger that. I got you.
Well, there are times.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Well, the PBC at times are known for doing this.
Hold on, Kurt.
What's up?
I get that you're somewhat having fun with this. I don't know.
I'm just saying the fact that you were there doesn't validate the fact that you would know if it's sold out or not.
Actually, I would.
I've been to plenty of fights and I never actually took a tally of the seats. So
that's not that.
Hey, no. What I will say is
I'm trying to get out the way. I'm just trying to get out the way. It's a whole show.
Wait, hold on.
But I doubt that Ortiz didn't sell out.
I mean, I've been to plenty fights and seen. I've been to plenty fights and seen stuff cut off.
So you mean to tell me that I'm saying is that because I was actually making a actual count of each seat within the
what I'm saying is you quantified your statement with, and I was at the fight, so I just figured, you did a tally of some shit.
Hey, I'm loving this.
I didn't understand what kind of reaction we were supposed to have that you had to fight.
They will actually tell you what the actual
Roger that. Hey, but look,
Kurt, get him.
hey, my man say, I'm the guy that was actually there. Hey, he was in the middle. Hey, he was in the middle looking at all the seats.
I mean, but when you're at fights, you can feel if they're.
I didn't say that.
When you're at fights, you can feel the audience though.
Okay,
No.
man, but for the sake of the show, man, let's move on to something else because at this point, Deontay Wilder, he's done. Deontay Wilder's done. So we talking about something.
I think that
you're talking about the past. How about right now, 2025?
Right.
What I mean at any time,
right?
Better than right now.
Hello?
To have that particular fight between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder.
What
we don't necessarily
the garbage show?
Anthony Joshua in the ring.
No, dog. I don't want to see the garbage show.
Okay, but here's the thing. Who else would you have either one of those guys fight at this point right now?
I mean, honestly, neither of them.
Wilder retire with some dignity. That's one thing that I've never got to when we were talking about Baumgartens. I think that fighters should retire by the age of 36. I don't think that
you see Serrano.
Yeah. I mean, when we're talking about Serrano, man, I mean, it's sad.
I would slightly agree with that. In women's boxing, though, I'm kind of on the fence with that for the simple fact that a lot of these women fighting at this age simply because the talent level, like I was saying, is real high and real low. There's not a lot of in between. A lot of times in these women fights,
I agree with that.
When you get in the ring with them,
100%.
When you get in the ring with them, you either fighting a good fighter or you're fighting a fighter that you already know. This one here ain't gonna go long. So that's why you can see fighters fighting a lot longer. Amanda, she got to fight old girl eventually, or go ahead and retire, or lean on that Katie Taylor bag. But to get back to what you were speaking, but to get back to what y'all was speaking on, I feel like Deontay Wilder can retire if he would like. I think it wouldn't hurt anything in the sport. But I would like for Deontay Wilder to go ahead and fight AJ right now. He don't lose anything in that fight because they both are at the end.
Fight right now.
I mean, I look at it like that.
It makes the most sense.
I look at it like that. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. At this point, it's a novelty. It ain't what it was. Watch them fight,
I believe you could get 100,000 people to come to the Ozone Arena in London. I believe you could fill up Ryder with that fight. It's overseas.
You can do a stadium with that easy, definitely.
Hey, dog,
you can definitely do a stadium.
Hey, so
all day long.
We're not gonna talk about how terrible Wilder looked. I mean, we gonna just leave that.
He is shot. Wilder is shot.
When you not a big right no more.
You gotta understand that guy hadn't fought in almost 2 years.
Well,
and his last fight was Otto Watland, and he had fought Otto Watland and only fought one round in that fight. And then you got a guy who hasn't gotten a lot of had a lot of ring rust off of him. His last fight was a 1-rounder. He thought he was getting ready to get AJ after that fight, and he didn't. And he just
they set up the 5v5. They set up the 5v5 for it.
We're talking about a 40-year-old fighter now. I mean, at this point, we're talking about
absolutely.
I don't
he is older.
I mean,
he started late too.
But
absolutely. You can't start at 16, 17 years old and think you're gonna beat a fighter that's been fighting since he was 7.
Yeah, but I don't want. I mean, I watch it because I like this, but I don't think it would indicate anything as far as what it would.
It would just be a fight to satiate the fans. Really, it would just be a fight to satiate the fans. Something the fans been wanting to see.
It's a payday. It's a hoorah payday.
It'll be a circus.
Yeah.
No, not at all. No, I tell you, I watch Dazzling Boxing a lot, and it seems that there's a lot of fans that enjoy circuses. I mean, I've seen a lot of guys who I watch these shows, and they'll have 4 or 5 fights on them, and 4 of the fights are really I should turn the channel because the main event is the only thing that's going to happen. I mean, to be honest with you, man, with the exception of maybe 1 fight with the Top Rank and 1 fight with Golden Boy, PBC's the only fight cards that I see where you might catch 2-3 fights that are going to be really, really, really interesting, not counting the main event. As opposed to you go to this top rank, it's bum after bum after bum after bum fighting, and then we got to wait until the main event in order to finally get. And then they'll say after the fight, they'll say PBC is going out of business.
Well, let me say this.
But you just get. Go ahead.
How many times they've been
Hold
saying
on, Church.
that?
Hold on. 1 second. Now you talked about the PBC.
Well, no, they haven't been going out of business.
Did you not
They've been
like
having
the last top rank with Abdullah Mason with that card? The last one we just saw.
that whole card was live topped about. That card was live. That was an exciting doubleheader, definitely.
Hey,
I'm trying to hear you said with that last fight with Abdullah Mason and them, that wasn't a good fight.
That wasn't
No, what you fail to realize is that every man on this panel is a great champion, right? But me and you are the only ones that are great that are fighting each other. We're gonna put Kurt in there with a bum. We're gonna put him in there with a bum. We're gonna put him in there with a bum. Now, don't get me wrong. All three of these are good fighters fighting a bum. I don't want to see that fight. I want to see Gene versus Sean. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to watch these bums who we know are fairly good fighters, but they're not fighting nobody. But, I like boxing, so I'll be interested in it. Now, if I'm a casual, I probably won't even watch it at all. Probably won't tune in until me and you fight. But they're not fighting fights where there's... Do you remember Don King? You remember how Don would have 2 and 3
These are young
championships?
fighters we're talking about. These guys only had 12 to 14 fights.
Who? No, I'm just saying.
Turkey the only one putting these cards together like that. Turkey the only one putting cards together like that, really.
yeah.
I feel like Top Rank's been getting away for decades with this.
Well, yes, Top Rank has been getting away with it for a long time, only putting up like one header, double headers, and then the rest of it be flat, one-sided fights. You know what I'm saying? But the only one outside of PBC, recently Turkey is in my opinion, Turkey not acting like, but he is inserting a shot of steroids into boxing, how Don King did back in the day, not on a corrupt level, but just on a level of the whole card is lit. Main event, co-main, and the whole card. Don King was getting away with it because he was robbing guys. So he was able to get away with putting on these stupid cards, on flat fees or whatever.
I want to give y'all a little history. I want to give y'all a little history here, right? Because y'all need this.
I love history.
When y'all look at when y'all speak on Don King, y'all need to understand this because this is very, very important. Don King ain't no bigger crook than Bob Arum. And
no, he isn't.
But history has said that he has been. Don King's claim to fame is he's done everything Bob Arum's done. It's just Bob don't get called out for it, and Don did.
No,
you know what? You're a middleweight champion. You're a middleweight champion, right? Well, your lawyer is my lawyer with my promotion. I'm your promoter as well. I'm also getting a percentage as your advisor. So I got my hand in your pockets 3 different ways. Same as Top Rank, same as Eddie. Don't forget also, I might even own your likeness. So now that's 4 different ways. So when we talk about robbing, he isn't putting no gun in these guys' head. You're owed $5 million and you only got 1.7. Now what happened to the other 3.3?
It's the same thing that Bob does to a degree. I agree. It's the same thing Bob does. The only we just see it in a way with Bob because Oscar left, Floyd left, Terrence left.
But don't nobody really call him out for that. They still try to get his dude love.
Yeah, they do. Because I think that's because Bob hit him with the NDAs and them contracts in the sense. You know what I'm saying? You can say something if you want to, but it ain't gonna be liable in a sense. But that's a whole nother thing because you can see with Al Heyman to a degree.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to
guys
go
have said stuff about Al, and then they retracted it sometime afterwards. And it's happened. Hugo Centeno, Adrian Broner. A couple guys tried to quote unquote speak out against Al's practices, and then turned around and ended up, blase. That's not really what went down. So yada yada yada, and yet, Al is still making these big fights happening.
Absolutely. Al was only getting his customary 15%, and these guys are getting a lion's share of their money. Yeah. What you do with your money is what you do with your money. I mean, honestly, Al opened the door for boxers to get paid, but that also is what helped mess up. Yeah, but that also is hurting boxing because you got a guy now that maybe
overflated market value. Overflated market value.
Yeah, I feel you. Hey, fellas. Hey, fellas,
Yeah, go ahead.
moving from the the brass tacks of the people behind the
Go-
scenes.
my bad. Go
Hey,
ahead,
look,
brother.
the Dubois Usyk fight. Did any of y'all feel like Dubois that wasn't a low blow and that he actually put Usyk down?
I thought it was
Who?
borderline.
Yeah,
Who? Which fight?
I
Which
thought it was
fight?
borderline. I thought depending on the ref.
I thought Dubois was a legal knockdown.
Me too.
I thought depending on it was depending on the ref. I didn't really know that ref, and I'm like a lot of that stuff depends on the ref. Like if I'm looking at Jay Nady, I'm like, okay, he's not a hands-on ref. He gonna kind of let them fight. But then if I see who's the guy that refed Floyd's fights a lot, the black guy that ref Floyd's fights, he's a hands-on ref. Yeah, Kenny Bayless is a hands-on ref. He's not gonna let you punch to get out. He's coming in.
Kenny like you to box. Kenny's a boxer's referee. If you're a boxer, you're a jabber, you're a fighter who like to move and get the sweet science, you want a Kenny Bayless. You know, you want a brawl, you want a boxer puncher, you go get a Steve Smoger. You know, Jay Nady.
What's his name? The black guy, the one who be smiling a lot, who enjoying the fights. That dude, he gonna let it go. He's just gonna let it all go. Steve Wilkes.
If you told me, I wouldn't know his name. I just want to know if anybody else agreed with me that was a knockdown.
I thought it was a knockdown.
I think it was a knockdown.
Me too. Okay, I was just wondering if it was just me.
If I'm the ref, I'm counting it. If I'm the ref, I'm giving him an 8 count.
Let me speak on this then. Suppose it was a knockdown.
Right.
Why is nobody else executing something similar to get Usyk up out of there if it's as simple as a body shot?
I mean, because it ain't that easy to get place that body shot. It ain't
because it isn't to get to close that distance. You gotta go through hell and high water to get inside there with Usyk if you really want to do it.
I disagree. I disagree with that.
Okay.
No stopping what you said, but I disagree with that for the fact that the style of fighters that have fought Usyk, you're not going to get that from Eugene. You're not going to get a jabber, puncher, wait for you to come in so I can hit you with the 1-2. AJ that's going to go in there and work the middle and try to make something happen when he gets in close. He wants some distance. He wants to throw that jab out there and set you up for the hook. Wilder, the same way. But Wilder don't mind coming in close as long as you're going to open yourself up for punches. But if you're going to box and jab...
But as we saw, Wilder showed that he didn't like to listen. So that was always going to equal to his downfall eventually. But you are right. Wilder's lack of fundamentals equal to him just going in brazen a lot because he had no fear, because he had no understanding of at times what he was dealing with. I think, in my opinion, like a fighter like Ortiz, if he was a little bit younger with a little bit more gas tank, that's a nightmare for Wilder. But because Ortiz, Ortiz may be 50, we don't really know because a lot of their documents are doctored by the time they come over here. That's why we think Rigondeaux may be closer to 50 than 40 than anything else. And, maybe Lara may be closer to 50. Then a lot of these guys may be closer to 30 than 20, like Robesi Ramirez.
I like that.
Well, Rigondeaux stout. Rigondeaux's a champion again. A lot of people, I don't know if y'all know that.
Yeah, he's honestly, a WBC silver champion, right? Yeah, he's trying to fight anyway.
What's the reason that Rigondeaux's out of boxing? But what's the reason Rigondeaux's out of boxing?
Politics?
No.
Politics?
But from who?
That's it.
Who? But from who?
I don't know exactly from who. School me on that.
It's from Bob Arum. Let's just keep it real. ESPN and Bob Arum.
Okay.
I don't like the way that they set him up to get played in that fight that he got robbed in. No, not the Loma fight. I mean, Loma beat him fair and square. Bob did the same thing to Rigo that he did to Nicholas Walters. He stretched the fight out, drained him out, and made him have to fight a fighter that was much bigger. Because Loma looked way bigger than Rigo before that fight.
The fight was at 126, crazy enough. And I'm like, why can't they make the fight? No, the fight was at 130. I'm like, why can't they make the fight at 126?
126.
Loma's not that
what
big.
You got people who said that Rigo, who wasn't that appealing supposedly to certain fans on ESPN. So they put him in a fight where he beat that one Filipino, and they still gave the fight to the Filipino. That was a sign to tell Rigo to get out of boxing.
Jean-Riel Casimero, and he's been kicked out. He's exited out of boxing himself now. He's champion everything, and that's dropped charges and everything. What happened, and he's in Asia because can't get sanctioned in the Western world now. You know, it's crazy how they exiled Rigondeaux using Casimero, and then Casimero himself, right around the corner, just got exiled, and he can't. And he was promised an Inoue fight. You know, and would he have beat Inoue? No. You know, but it would have been an interesting fight nonetheless. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
Because in a way,
fellas, I gotta run, but hey, it was great
thanks
chopping
for
it up
stopping
with
through.
y'all, man. It was great.
Yeah, bro,
chopping
you're
it up
beautiful,
with you fellas.
Appreciate
All
it,
right,
Kurt.
guys.
As always.
All
right, my man.
I liked it. I liked it that fight. I would like Inoue to fight Arrigo. I would like Inoue in a year to fight Bam.
Bam wants to move up because Bam goes up and down. He has a weird body where he can seem to go up to 122 and down to 118 and down to 116 a little bit, you know, because he's fought as high as 122, but he's fought as low as, you know, we've seen him fight at super flyweight before. We've seen him fight at flyweight before. You know, I don't think Bam is in any rush to go up to 122 right now because I think he's lined up to fight Roman. They're trying to line him up to fight Roman right now. And I think Roman will be the toughest fight for him, even beyond Juan, because
he needs a firefight like that anyway to engage his legacy.
Hello?
Can y'all hear me?
And
hello?
Yeah,
can you hear me? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you good. Can y'all hear me?
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I can.
see.
I just
What do
hear
y'all think
echo in the back.
about Tank Davis and Lamont Roach Jr.?
Good fight. I mean, I don't like that how Lamont was looked at. Lamont was looked at a certain way before he decided to fight Tank, and then when he decides to fight Tank, he's being called a bum, the worst champion of the 130, the this and that.
He isn't.
I agree.
mean, he isn't the worst narrative
he's not the
against
best 130.
No, he isn't. But he's not the worst champion at 130, in my opinion.
But they all minimize when Tank's fighting him. This was nothing but a fight to wait for Shakur. This is just a pause fight. He wanted to have this. He wanted to fight in November. They tried to drag him out. December, venue issues. He just wants to stay active so he can get a big fight. He done signed a $500 million deal, and he needs to put big fights up, and he wants to have them. But these fighters are playing games because they want a certain amount of money that they would never make in before him, or won't make it unless they fight him. You know, Loma, we waiting for you, Loma. You could have. You're not gonna make no money fighting anybody else to the equation that you're gonna make with Tank.
I'm kind of 50-50 on. I'm kind of 50-50 on the Loma fight even happening anymore because I was so pro that fight happening, you know, pre-COVID, that by the time, and you know, Floyd said himself, Lomachenko is 30. He's in a rush to do everything. He started late. We not rushing. If he's still around when Tank's at his best, then we'll look his way. And it's happening exactly how Floyd said, even though, you know, now that Tank's really at his peak right now, and Loma is still around, but he's a step behind. That's facts is facts. Loma is a step behind what he once was.
I mean, and like Floyd, if you can beat a man at 36, 37 years old, you can beat him at 30 years old. So I don't really go off that. If you're better than him, you're better than him. And if you're not, then you're not.
So
I mean, you know,
piggyback
but Father Time is still undefeated. You can still get old and around. We happen. You know, fighters go in looking fresh and then bam, Father Time hits him in the face.
Right. So let me ask y'all this. Let me ask y'all guys this. So speaking of Tank and Loma, and the fact that it didn't happen maybe 6 or 7 years ago, because a lot of people are bringing that up. How do you respond to those people?
I simply sell him with the quickest of the quickest. If you felt that Loma could have beat Tank 5 years ago, then you should still believe that he can beat him 5 years later. Because greatness is greatness, and all you got to do is go off the totality of his style, the totality of his career, and the fighters he's faced. That can give you a niche or an edge in your visual eye to see that what I've saw over those 5 years that's passed, that this guy here can beat Tank or not. And there's nothing in Loma that I've seen. You're not faster, you're not quicker, you don't move smooth enough. You haven't fought a fighter that has seen that, a lot of people say, oh, the way Loma fights and the way he moves. Man, I done been in the ring with guys like him my whole life, and y'all know why. Because he fights a lot like we move. You're not giving Tank nothing we haven't seen before, even though. Go ahead, brother.
Can I piggyback off that real quick? I agree with you to a degree that if you are great, that after a while, the longevity can get cut off for you as a fighter. Most of the time, once you hit 34, 35, 36, you start to see it. My only thing is, from what I saw in Lomachenko, was that I thought that if he would have fought a Comey, the fight against Comey kind of showed me that, oh, damn, he really is losing a step, in a sense, because Comey's there to be hit. He's not going nowhere. Comey's always there to be hit, and Loma had a hard time getting Comey away. He mopped the floor with Comey, but I felt as though that was a sign. And then the Jermaine Ortiz fight, I think Jermaine fought a really good fight, but those fights
I thought
really
Ortiz beat him.
I thought it should have been a draw, and if it went the other way,
I'd have been cool with that.
I thought it should have been a draw. I thought the Ortiz Lopez fight should have been a draw. Ortiz just has a style, sadly, that I thought the Lopez fight should have been a draw, if not going to Ortiz. I had Ortiz beating Lopez. I thought Ortiz may have done enough for a draw, not a loss. You know what I'm saying? Especially not a loss the way they had it.
I thought Jermaine beat Ortiz, and I thought he. You talking about Teofimo, right?
Yeah, I thought he did enough to get a draw, if not beat him.
I thought he beat Teofimo by about this much. Same with Loma, but I do understand this is Top Rank, and they're not gonna let Cash Cow go down.
No, there isn't. And Teofimo, and to digest, I think what we saw in the Devin fight, the fight was right there for Loma, and he didn't have enough in the 12th to make it a draw, or at least take it away. Because if he'd have won the 12th, it's a draw, period, because that's how close it was. But he didn't have enough to do that like he would have against Linares, or he did against Martinez or Walters. And the Walters fight, obviously, I don't know about you guys, but that fight always surprised me, because I thought Walters was going to do very well against Loma. And that wasn't the case. I knew he wasn't, man. I was so hurt in that fight. That was when I knew Loma wasn't the real deal. I just kept quiet about it because I wanted to be unbiased. And I just feel like sometimes. No, but let me hear this real quick. See, Nicholas did kind of similar to the way that Mikey Garcia did, and a few others. He didn't want to accept the fight a certain way, and they dranked him. They stalled him and froze him out. And then you bring him back in the HBO actually talked about that a little bit before the fight. They said timeline of Walters Loma, and they showed that because of negotiation, shady dealings on back and forth sides, that this fight is happening possibly 7 to 8 months to a lot later than it should have, because of the money situation. They said that apparently the Walters was like, y'all are going to give Roman Martinez more money than me. Y'all paid Roman more money to fight than y'all are offering me, and I'd mop the floor with Roman Martinez, and I believe him on that. That wasn't fair. I knocked out
that fighter.
They did.
They took his power from him. He didn't have his power when he went into that fight. It was a lot of little things that took away from him. Not to mention, a lot of people don't realize he hadn't almost fought in 2 years.
Yeah, his last fight was with Jason Sosa. Yeah, his last fight was Jason Sosa, and that's a tough fight for anybody. That was a tough fight for anyone.
That was a throw him to the wolves fight, and Loma was to make Loma look good, and they did just that.
Because Jason's been robbed a couple times in his career, to be honest. It's like Jason, his record doesn't show how good he actually was, you know, and Bob did him dirty at the end, feeding him to Miguel like that. You know,
something
that's
else
what
you
Bob.
can peep
That's what
too. You can peep
that's what
with a
Bob
lot
and
of these
the both do,
fighters.
though.
See, with Tank, the big difference with me that lets me think Tank's going to beat all them fighters in particular is he's faster, stronger. I believe his IQ's better and the power.
It's the IQ.
But then
it's the IQ
I
for
say,
me.
The power is the icing on the cake.
Yeah, the
but
power
what I
is the
said,
icing on the
the
cake.
power,
That's the equalizer.
the power's that bonus. But what I say is that Tank ain't fighting no fighters after losses. Shakur doesn't mind fighting a fighter after a loss. Devin
No, he
doesn't mind
doesn't.
fighting a fighter after a loss. Ryan doesn't
No,
mind fighting a fighter after a loss. Tiafimo doesn't
no,
mind fighting a fighter after a loss. But those guys,
no,
and I'll add Keyshawn in there, even though he hasn't really made it yet. They don't mind
no,
fighting a fighter after a loss. Tank's not getting in the ring with a fighter after a loss.
no.
And that's what people have to understand about the salesmanship of these fights.
The issue
All right, let me ask
people
you
with
this
Tank.
about Tank.
I'm sorry. I
I want to ask
always
both of
thought
y'all
that.
this.
Yeah,
I can't hear
Ask
you.
y'all both a question. So, in my opinion, as far as Tank Davis, in my opinion, so we go back 5 or 6 years, as I stated earlier, the
Yes.
Loma situation. Is it fair to say that Tank was green at that time and still developing?
A little bit, yes. But but he hasn't changed his style that much more. He's not as flamboyant as he was. Like he doesn't. But that's because as you get older, you become experienced. Like when he fought Pedraza and other guys of that nature, when he first came on, you know, doing the squat, coming back up, popping with the left, you know, putting his hands down, showboating. He doesn't do that stuff so much in the middle of the fight anymore because the opposition is going up, the caliber of fighters is going up. The only knock I have on Tank is that, you know, he has two names on his, he has three names that I give him, that, you know, the Pedraza fight, the Mario Barrios fight, and the Leo Santa Cruz fight. But that's only half because Leo Santa Cruz can't pop a grape. He's never been able to pop a grape even at 118.
What
You know what I'm
about
saying?
Pitbull? You don't give him any credit for Pitbull fighting him after
In a way-
9 days?
Yeah, I give him credit for Pitbull, but I think with both hands he'd have knocked Pitbull out.
Oh, okay. I get it. I get it. Circumstances got you saying what you're saying, and if those circumstances didn't exist, you say something different.
Yeah, I just think that with both hands, Pitbull gets starched by Tank because he's right there to be hit, and he's right in Tank's wheelhouse, and all Tank got to do, bang, 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 bang. Only because Tank had one hand is why that people be like, oh, Pitbull. Look what Ryo just did to Pitbull, and Ryo's really good. Ryo's a really good fighter, but we didn't know Ryo was that good because he only.
No, I didn't know
like
I didn't know Ryo. I didn't know Ryo had that footwork. That was. I didn't know he had that footwork.
I've been following. I follow Ryo for a minute, and he doesn't.
Think if Ryo had Tank power.
Oh yeah, that footwork blew me away. I didn't think the footwork was going to get him get out of Pitbull's way. He showed me no, I got some footwork to go with these hands.
Pitbull too. Pitbull he was working to cut off that ring.
Well, you know, Ryo was working with the Russells a little bit in the camp. He was working with Gary on and all them a little bit during his camp.
He fought tall really too.
Yeah, he used his range.
Yeah,
he's like 5'9" at 140. He's big for 140.
No, but he fought tall. He never tried to go down with him. I'm gonna stay long. You're gonna get through this jab. I'm gonna give you great footwork, and that's your deviation. And he deviated. Pitbull
respected the power because he got caught with an uppercut like round 5 or round 6, and he didn't even try to come in like that no more. He got a little bit more passive. And when you're a fighter like Pitbull with only one weapon, 12-gauge shotgun, you be thinking if fighting.
Well, what I think Pitbull has to stop doing is
like,
oh yeah.
But what I was saying, like, you know, if you only got one weapon, it's good because you think going in back, David Williams, Pitbull, David Benavidez to an extent, Johnson back in the day, you know, but then it hurts you when the fighter of a higher IQ can pick you apart and take that weapon away, and now you got to figure stuff out. And that becomes the issue with a Pitbull or, you know, like a Glenn Johnson, or as we saw most recently with the, you know, Deontay Wilder, you know, or even a Big Bang Zhang. You know, we saw what Parker did. Parker showed if you got a good enough chin, you can wipe Zhang. You know what I'm saying? You can wipe him, no problem. Because Parker,
Absolutely.
in my opinion, has shown Parker got a better resume as a contender than he did as a champion. Like, which is which is amazing for Parker.
Well, I'll say this. Parker was a winner of circumstance. I don't believe
Yes.
Parker lasts with an active, in shape, 3, 4, 5 month fought to go Deontay Wilder.
No, that's a different fight.
Eddie Hearn put him in a perfect situation. A fighter who ain't fought in who knows how long. I think Deontay hadn't fought in well over a year.
Well, that's because he was trying to figure out, he had to buy himself out his contract with PBC, I think, in order to open himself up to even get involved with Eddie Hearn, and that takes time and money. And I know he was waiting on the Fury fight or some shit like that. That wasn't happening. Wilder was a victim of his own demise, in my opinion. He held himself back from the AJ fight in the 2010s. He, as they say, crossing the street, he should have been did that, leave Showtime, and work with Bob, work with Eddie, work with Warren. But I don't know what Stephen Espinoza had over Wilder to make him keep resigning.
It takes two to tango. I'll say that on that without giving my opinion. It takes two to tango.
Let me say this. Let me say this about that. I just couldn't understand whenever you talked about AJ versus Wilder in the build-up that everybody wanted to see. It was always like Deontay Wilder had this personal hate towards Eddie Hearn, almost like Eddie robbed him or something. You know what I mean? Like did something. He always acted like.
Well, everybody thought that Eddie's a weasel.
Hold on, let me finish.
Yeah,
but then, right around the time the Turkey and all that stuff happened, you see on the plane or wherever it was, Eddie Hearn and Deontay Wilder finally chopping it up. Something that could have happened long ago. And it was really more or less in the mind, and
I think at times,
mind.
I think at times
you could not like a person because you never ever sat down to learn how a person is.
That could be who you're with, though. Your association and everything. Who's whispering in your ear? Who's telling you what?
I like your theory, Gene, and you got a very good point with that theory that you brought up. I think that had a lot to do with maybe that fight not happening. You have a promoter who will lie, cheat, steal, say anything for attention on his fighters, his promotion, and his brand, which was Eddie Hearn. And you have a Deontay Wilder who's a champion, who's looking on principles, pride, and knockouts. And you got a guy there who don't know one another. This promoter, unlike the promoter I really deal with, don't run his mouth a lot. This guy won't shut up. This guy's always got a comment. And he rubs people the wrong way. And I think sometimes when people don't get to sit down and find out your mechanism, find out what makes you quirk and why you do the things that you do, I think a whole lot of misunderstandings take place and we don't get the fights, or we get two people not really liking one another. And that might have been the case.
Well, wasn't that the issue with the whole Cold War in the late 2000s and early 2010s? Just promoters just not liking each other and refusing to work with each other. Yep. The whole Showtime HBO thing. Jay-Z, Al Heyman, Bob Arum, Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather.
Let's be honest here. I don't really want to stay too long on this topic, but let's be honest.
We don't have to. I was just bringing a point up. That's it.
Oh no, I respect it. It all changed in 2006 after a man gave a promoter $750,000. After he did that, he went and worked with the face of boxing, who was getting the same treatment with that guy that he paid that $750,000 from, and they came together. And when they came together, that guy already had boxing. His name was Oscar De La Hoya. The guy who took it from me was Floyd Mayweather. Al and them did a great job. Oscar helped too. He had provided a lot. Oscar said, "I'll shoot my quadrant of opponents at you at Golden Boy, and Floyd will make a mountain of money promoting you." And it worked. Until Floyd said politely, "We no longer need to do business anymore, Oscar." And he told him that after the Robert Guerrero fight. Like, this Canelo fight is probably all we need to do. Oscar got caught up on drugs.
I remember those rumors. I remember those rumors going around, circulating at the time. I was just getting into boxing at the time. I'm only 29, but when I got into it, I followed deep as much as I could. But I remember hearing rumors at the time that the Canelo and Oscar fight was fishy dealings happening to a degree. And I remember watching the fight at a party, and I remember saying, "Don't be surprised if this is a draw."
Which
because Canelo Floyd. I remember hearing some fishy things about the Floyd Canelo fight because of Floyd and Oscar's relationship. And I remember telling a friend of mine, don't be surprised if you see a draw. And he was all like, "Is Canelo that good?" No, not good enough to get a draw with Floyd. That's why I said don't be surprised if you see a draw, because there might be 6 rounds boxed in before the fight even begins. Sadly. So
Oscar had a boxing monopoly. He was the face of boxing. He had a great promotion, and he ran and owned Ring Magazine. So he had a trifecta. He was controlling rankings, he was controlling status and fighters, and no one was saying anything about it. And it was Al Heyman who was exposing all of these things, that these fighters are being controlled through rankings, paying Oscars so they can get rankings. Then not to mention Oscar's a promoter. Then not to mention Oscar's got fighters. Oscar did a great job with Canelo. That's why a lot of people may not like Oscar. But in regards to Canelo, you really can't really say too much against him because he made you. I mean, and he saved you a couple of times in the process of making you.
I always said that Canelo, and I said this: how Canelo has moved. Even I'm one of those people that feel like Canelo got 3 losses on his record, but that's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? But would he be any less of a super duper pay-per-view needle moving megastar with them? No, he wouldn't. He'd still be moving the needle. Even if the Lara fight would have went Lara's way, they'd still be flocking to see Canelo. You know what I'm saying?
He made his bones well before that. I know you said you just started watching it. See, Oscar did a smart thing. He had Canelo in 2007, and he had him on undercards. He brought Canelo up smart. He brought him up smoothly. You can see
Canelo with Eric Morales in a couple at the end of his career. You can see Canelo part of Eric Morales' entourage in the Maidana fight. Canelo's right there next to him, and in both Garcia's fights, Canelo's right there next to him. So I believe you when you say that. Canelo's been around a long time, a really long time, in the American scene, whether you watched him or not, before Floyd or whatever. I remember seeing him fight Cotto. So I think the first time I saw a fight was him fight Cotto there.
I mean, it's so much I could say with Canelo that, I don't want to really touch on too much. It's hard for me to overly give too much support to a guy that's cheated and got caught twice.
Yeah, he did, and nothing happened.
So
nothing happened to him.
We talked about last time.
I mean, he will not
fight David Benavidez.
Right, it's a lot going on. Like, how does Berlanga deserve a fight with you, but David doesn't? How does Caleb Plant deserve a fight with you, but David doesn't? How does Jaime Maguire deserve a fight with you or anybody, but David doesn't?
Right.
Avni Yildirim? Remember, Avni Yildirim got a Canelo fight over David Benavidez. Of all
I don't
people.
know how
one dude. Who was that one stocky dude from UK? That one stocky.
John Ryder. Yeah, Ryder.
John Ryder. Callum Smith.
We got so many. I mean, we could touch on so much with this. It's like, but you got a loyal country of fans and some delusional biased haters out there that will support him no matter what he does.
And a championship commission as well. You got a whole championship commission behind you, also willing to what do you want to do? Just give us your portfolio, and we'll work around it. I got my dad had Jesus Chavez, so I got you too, bro. Don't worry about it. I got.
Why don't you just go ahead and say the WBC? Okay, we understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, man. Definitely.
I want to make you laugh.
I like it. I just I feel like it was a lot of fights that he could have fought a lot sooner to gauge his greatness.
Yes,
After
yes.
Floyd, in ways that would have been
Hey,
undisputed.
fellas, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sure.
Keep going.
Definitely.
Keep going.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because
I just
I
felt
was
like
advocating
that.
for Andrade. I was advocating for Andrade. I was advocating for Charlo. I didn't understand. I'm literally watching boxing, watching my girl at the time, and why was he in Houston and Cleveland?
Yeah, definitely.
Where's Charlo? And then I'm
I
like,
mean,
hold on. This is fishy. Where's Ann Wolf? Like, I'm tripping. I'm like, where's Ann? This ain't James Kirkland without Ann Wolf. I don't know who this is. This ain't James Kirkland.
I agree with that. That was I mean, James talked a lot of trash in that that press conferences up on that fight. But James got the bag and got put on his ass.
I don't think they show that highlight to this day. They show that highlight to this day on the Canelo package. Like
Yeah. I mean,
boy, what?
James, James
Amir Khan too. They got Amir Khan on that job.
And and that's so crazy to me. I sit back when I really think about that. How did Glassjaw Khan get a fight with Canelo?
At 155.
That always.
At 155, no less. As an HBO main event.
For those 5 rounds.
Yeah, no, collecting that.
Yeah, that was very, very suspect. Let me
hit you on the head.
What did you think of? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna agree with you on the Eddie Hearn slime thing, because Eddie Hearn, I felt bad for Kell Brook because he's the #1 welterweight in the world, and somebody let's go looking. What
you said because he what?
Kell Brook, Kell Brook was the #1 welterweight in the world, and he ends up fighting Golovkin, prime wrecking ball, destroy Mo Golovkin. I did not understand it, and I did more behind the scenes research to find out he didn't want to pay Jesse Vargas $3 million, and then he didn't want, and then he said, no, Kell's not going back to America. We already did that. Just have the fight in New England somewhere. England fans travel.
He wanted a money grab. And he thought, and Kell convinced him that, hey, I can make the weight. I'm big enough. I'm strong enough to handle this Golovkin. It's a win-win. I'm gonna make more money for myself and you than if we would have fought Jesse. And we're gonna go ahead and beat the big bad Sabose Wolf and Triple G. And Kell gave a great performance until his eye got messed up.
Yeah.
But it was a money grab.
I was scared from really knocked out Lucian Bute in Michigan, and I'm like, I don't even. I already knew it was going to take a high level to beat Golovkin. Everyone downplayed Golovkin in a way. In a way, I underrated him for a long time until I can't remember what fight it was that made me really I think it was the Jacobs fight that made me kind of look at Golovkin in a different light, because he showed the ability to adjust when his fight gave a different look. He showed the ability to dictate the engagement, even though Jacobs turned it on. But
I thought Jacobs did a good job in that fight. I knew that they weren't going to give him that win. I myself don't think Triple G's a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry.
I don't think so either. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer either.
I mean, you got Triple G. You fought Canelo 3 times. We can't take that from you. But you never wanted to really fight a tough fighter. I mean, you knew that Charlos was on your behind. You didn't want him. I mean, I remember when his trainer Abel Sanchez had said, "We're not giving him no fight, no matter what." Boo Boo, we're not giving him no fight. It was like he wanted him to fight fighters that were going to stand there and not have real power. He even thought that Canelo wasn't going to bring power, but Canelo did to a degree. Yeah. They were afraid of that jab from Charlo, and they were afraid of that powerful right hook. and
And
it
from
just
Boo
kind
Boo, I
of,
think it was the movement. Think about the move from Boo Boo.
and
Boo
Boo Boo
Boo
was
and
a
them
lot more
said,
powerful back when he was younger.
yeah, they said they were offered a contract. Boo Boo said they were offered a contract from Triple G, but they turned it down. But he was at 154, and they wanted him to move up straight from 154 and fight Triple G. And I'm like, that's shady, but it is what it is, you know. But I don't consider Triple G a Hall of Famer because he left a lot of fights on the table. You know, Canelo left
Yeah.
fights on the table, but Canelo made up for them to a degree through his career. Degree, not a lot, but to a degree. Triple G. I remember I knew it was when Triple G, what's his name, Derevianchenko. Even though I thought Sergey beat him, I beat Triple G in that fight, and the referee was saving Triple G. He saved him like 2-3 times in that fight. It got blatant. You know, he got hit with a body shot and was hurt, and the referee got in between them like twice. What are you doing? What are you doing? You in the back pocket? You know,
Yeah.
but. And Boo Boo, if you watch the fight live on DAZN, Boo Boo jumped the ring, you know, to talk to Triple G. But if you watch that fight on DAZN, they don't do that. Cut that part out.
Yeah, Boo Boo did a lot. Boo Boo did a lot to get these fights that didn't happen. I'll even say he tried hard with Charlo, but Boo Boo also made some really horrible business decisions. That
he did.
And Eddie Hearn really took away some of his best years, and it's his fault because you signed with him, knowing you're gonna get some money fighting with Eddie, but he doesn't no fighters for you over here.
Yeah, the issue was that he signed with Eddie because Eddie was attached to DAZN, and he thought that Eddie could leverage DAZN to getting him a Canelo Triple G fight, and then realizing that, well, Canelo and Triple G make their own decisions because of boxing dictations at this point. And if they choose ever to fight you, sadly, as we saw, the fans are going to agree with. We saw you want payday, you know. And I'm all like, this is like when Aaron Pryor tried to Sugar Ray Leonard. Fans kind of like, who are you on Sugar Ray Leonard? No, in a sense. And I'm like, we've seen guys call out fighters all the time by pulling up to their press conference. We probably would have never got Roy Jones Jr. versus Antonio Tarver if Tarver never pulled up to Roy and called him like that. You know, sign the contract, Roy. Tell me who I got to fight, and I'll fight him. You know, tell the people why you won't fight me.
Okay, calm down with the Roy comments now. You know, let's pipe down on Roy just a smidge.
Roy first ballot. Roy first ballot. I love Roy. Roy first ballot.
Okay, I'm gonna say that's my.
I never forgot. I never forgot.
Okay, don't
Roy
forget.
Got me, Roy
don't
got
you
me
ever
in boxing,
forget.
bro.
Okay, I believe
Roy got
you. There
me
you
in
go.
boxing. I love him, but
I mean,
you know,
I'm very. You know,
I keep it, but I keep it 50-50 across the board. I love
but you're
Boo
right.
Boo. I love Boo Boo, but I'm gonna say Boo Boo should not have signed with Eddie. He should have just took the pay-as-you-go deal with PBC because that's what it was. I'm a pay-as-you-go deal. Yeah. You know, you get as you fight. We ain't finna give you no. You know,
good deals with those.
Yeah, you know, we'll give you $5 million off rip, but that's it. You might not get another fight for 10 to 12 months, but you know what you get is what you get. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, you know, a lot of people don't understand the dynamic with PBC. They have so many fighters on their roster that are getting paid. And because they're getting paid, that's one of the main reasons why you're only seeing a fight once a year. Because a guy has gotten maximum money for a fight, whether it was a great fighter or average fighter. And then he's got to already have things lined up or already have a brand or pushing so he can get other fights set up for later in the year or beyond, because there's a whole quadrant of fighters that's waiting to take the next slot, where Top Rank has a certain amount and Matchroom has a certain amount and Golden Boy has a certain amount, where that's why you're seeing these fighters fight more. Everybody know if from 130 to 160, what are you doing not fighting a PBC fighter? And it's not nothing with PBC. That's where all the talent's at for your weight class. Well, why would you go to a Matchroom?
I agree with that.
Why would you go sign with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom at 135, knowing he has no one to fight you?
And I think And I think the issue was, and I think the problem is with a double-edged sword with that is activity. You know, it's the activity. And if you're not a Thurman, Garcia, a Spence, and I don't know how in the world Spence got as popular as he did, he can't talk. No, but I digest. And I live in Texas, and I still don't. I said I don't know how. I said I don't know how Spence is so popular and he can't talk. So
wow. Okay.
But know what I mean by that, like a mouthpiece, like talk trash and stuff like that.
I have to be careful with what I say. So
no, you good.
What I
you
will
good.
say
I understand.
is that,
I ain't trying to get you caught up.
Okay, yeah. What I will say is that Earl is. I think Earl speaks very well for himself. I think Earl earned his the hard way, and let's just be real. He lost once, and we're trying to take him from boxing off of one loss.
I'm not. I still think he has enough in the tank.
Not saying you are. Not saying that you are, but I'm saying a lot of people. As soon as you lose a fight, they're ready to write you off, and it's just like it's like a little crazy to me. But a lot of these guys, man, they're secure in their lanes, and they have egos, and they want to be compensated and being treated in a proper way. And sometimes that's where the imbalance takes place, where you got a fighter who has an ego, like say take a Shakur, who thinks he's the best fighter, though people aren't tuning in to watch you. You're not giving spectacular performances. And then you have a Tank here that's filling up seats, like you said, no matter where you fight. And he is giving spectacular performances, so we can engage that they're both good fighters, but yet one's feeling like he's on par with this other fighter when history, money, finances, and fan bases say you're not. And now we don't have a fight.
All right, dig this.
My only issue with Tank is no unifications.
Now dig this, y'all. Since you brought up Shakur, I kind of want to talk about him anyway. Was he supposed to fight Zepeda or somebody?
Yes.
He got Zepeda next. Zepeda next.
That fight ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen
in February and March.
Well, it comes back to the one reason it got canceled. Zepeda's gonna take a hit from a small margin with boxing fans, but we know why Zepeda's not fighting Shakur, and it don't have as much to do with Zepeda. Oscar De La Hoya ain't letting Zepeda fight Shakur Stevenson. He ain't about to let his little money piece go away that quickly. He already got exposed by a boxer. Tevin Farmer looked at spectacular against him, and I know people deep down know he pulled that fight off by about this much. Just the fact that he fought him. I thought
he won 95-94.
Tevin beat him his way. Tevin fought him his way and beat him. He beat him his way. Yeah. No one thought Tevin was going to knock him down. No one thought Tevin was going to be able to sustain that power that's in that rapid punching that Zepeda is known for.
Remember what I said earlier? Remember what I said earlier? One skill set. Zepeda is a double barrel shotgun, and that's it. And I always said this. Remember Paul Williams. As great as Paul Williams was, once you made him think, you gave yourself that much more of a gap to get a counter in. That's what Sergio Martinez calls Quintana. Laura were able to do. They were able to make Paul Williams do the one thing he don't want to do. Think. What did Tevin Farmer do to Zepeda? He made him think. Williams Zepeda ain't trying to think. He can't think and fight. He's just trying to throw punches. Once Farmer took away,
young man, I like that analogy right there. I like what you just said right there. That makes a lot of sense when you look at the fight. What you just said, and if you go pay attention to that fight, that makes a world of sense, because Zepeda was a lot of pauses. There was a lot of moments in that fight where Zepeda normally likes to come at him, and he hesitated and paused.
Why is Zepeda fainting? He don't faint. You know, I did combat sports from the time I was 11. You know, to the time I was 18, I did kickboxing, boxing, a little bit of everything. So I kind of understand. I have a bit of an IQ to a degree, not like yours. You probably, you deep in, I understand knowledge. I hear knowledge when I hear it, so.
It's all good, brother. It's all good.
when I watch boxing, you know, I'm trying to look at what the trainers are looking at. I'm looking at trying to find the openings that everyone is looking for. You know, like a Sean Porter. Sean Porter is a step behind when he's boxing. He's a good boxer, but he's way more beatable as a boxer than when he's Sean Porter. You know, look at Keith
Balls
Thurman.
to the wall, not thinking.
Yeah, Keith Thurman can do both. Keith Thurman can fight you, or he can move around and box you, and he don't look awkward doing either one. Keith Thurman's issue was he just made a paper mache. That's Keith Thurman's issue. He made a paper mache. That's it. You know, I remember telling my friend, don't put money on Thurman for the zoo fight. He's gonna make the zoo fight. You know, I knew he wasn't gonna make the zoo fight, and lo and behold, he didn't make it. And I felt bad for Sergey Boachuk. I felt bad for Brian Mendoza. I felt bad for Tim Tszyu. You know, I'm like, y'all just screwed 3 fighters because one fighter couldn't make weight. I mean, couldn't be healthy.
I felt like Thurman might have got knocked out in that fight too for some funny, ill reason. But what I will say is, I think Thurman might be over. But I would like, if he wants to come back, I'd like to see it, because I believe that you should show me instead of tell me, and that would be interesting. But I don't know where Thurman's going to do. Where can he go?
Was what, Barrios? Last time we saw him was he fought Barrios. And that gives more credit to Barrios, because Barrios done fought Tank, he done fought Thurman, he done fought now Abel Ramos, Maidana little brother, you know, Ugas. You know, Barrios, Barrios is needed for boxing, because he's not a world beater, but he'll fight anybody. And you need champions who will fight anybody. You need it, because if you have a division,
throwback fighters.
Yeah,
Mario,
if you don't have
definitely
if you don't have if you don't have at least one champion in that division, we got 4. If at least one of them isn't, I want the smoke, that division's gonna die, sadly. And we've seen it time and time again. And I remember when I was a kid watching boxing. Remember, why is Scott Quigg fighting? I remember seeing Quigg fighting. What's his name? Valdez and Leo Santa Cruz. Like, it was like the whole featherweight division was fighting each other, but they weren't fighting Rigondeaux. Like, I saw that. I'm all like, what in the world is going on? Because y'all were not talking about each other until Rigondeaux. Until Rigondeaux came down, broke Jaza Diggins' jaw, and said, "I want in England, I want everybody. I want Quigg. I can't think of that dude's name. Jamel Herrick knocked him out. I can't think of his name. That's a good Irish point. Irish dude. You know, they literally started
fighting. You talking about Carl Frampton?
Yeah, Carl Frampton. And I love Carl Frampton, you know, and I thought PBC kind of did him a little dirty in a Cruz situation, but it is what it is, you know.
Whoa. You said that PBC did Carl dirty in the Leo situation? You talking about the second fight?
I said a little bit. I said in the second one a little bit. Now, I was hoping for a rubber match. That's it. I was just hoping for a rubber match. I thought Frampton won the first fight. I thought Santa Cruz won the second fight, and I just wanted a rubber match because it was the first time we saw Santa. It was the first time we saw Santa Cruz in a real fight, and that's all I ever want out of Santa Cruz. You throw a lot of punches. Mexican, they come to see you. Where's unification? Where's the big fight? Where is the big time guy coming up? And it was finally Frampton who showed that I'll unify. But the issue was none of y'all was trying to fight Rigondeaux, and he was saying all y'all names. He said Valdez, he said Frampton, he said Quigg. He's like, and they like, you know, how about we just fight each other, and that way they can't get mad at us for not fighting him because we fight each other.
Well, I'm going to slightly defend Leo. I can't speak for any of the other ones, but I'm gonna only slightly defend Leo for the fact that Leo always gonna give you a tough fight. 1. And 2, we all know his dad did not want him fighting boxer punchers. I mean, it also was shown proof with Gary Russell Jr. He wouldn't let him fight Gary Russell Jr. And Rigo, for whatever reason, it seemed like
that's one of the biggest public ducks. That is one of the biggest public ducks in my generation of a fight as loud as can be, the horn, hands on your daddy, you know what I'm saying? And Mikey, other fighters saying don't like Mike Garcia saying, no, he shouldn't give Gary Russell a fight, and all this other stuff. The Figueroa fan saying, no, Santa Cruz shouldn't fight him. I'm like, I have never seen this blatant of a duck in my generation. Not in my generation of boxing. I've seen this blatant of a duck like this, like, to the point where they said he couldn't even get close to Leo at Vince type ordeal. I felt bad for Gary Russell, because he knew he had chronic hand problems, which is why he wasn't fighting as often. But all he wanted Garcia, he wanted Leo Santa Cruz, and
I'll say this: Gary is definitely hard to like, but in that Leo Santa Cruz situation, and that alone, I agree with you. He did everything you're supposed to do to get a fight, and the dad just wouldn't let him have one. But Gary can. Gary's hard to like.
In that situation. He is,
but he
right. Does. He talks very reckless. He talks himself in situations for clout, and I understand him. You're only as good as your last fight, and you only fight once a year. You were champion for 6 years, and you only have 5 title defenses. That was the most frustrating thing about Gary. But then you realize he got the hand problems. He's looking for unification or a big money fight. He's not trying to. I understand it. To a degree, but at the same time, come on, bro. You got to give us something. But I think Shakur. The Valdez fight helped Shakur a lot, beating Oscar Valdez the way he did. But then how he moved after that, ever since that fight, his stock just completely dropped more and more and more to the point where he's back to where as if the Valdez fight never even mattered. That's what I feel about Shakur Stevens.
I think Shakur is trying to think that skills and his way of fighting is all he needs to exhibit, and not remembering that people got to tune in to watch you. People got to show up to see you. And he got a very, very bad look, regardless of what he's trying to say or do. You had a bad look in your hometown. You gave well, that too, but that De Los Santos fight, I don't think compares to his last one. No, I'm talking about his last fight, because you fought. And you fought in your house. You stank up the place. That your own fans was against you, and you tried to shift that people are hating when you didn't give what you said you were going to give. It's my fault that you told me you were going to dominate and send a message to 135. Then you don't dominate or send a message, and now it's my fault.
No, that's not how it works in boxing. That's not how boxing works. Boxing's never worked like that. I may be young, but even I understand in the history of boxing, that's not how boxing works. You don't renege on yourself and then call the fans out for calling you out for. That's not how it works. You can't do that. And he's reaping what he's sowing right now because of. I don't. And only thing
I don't like it.
No, it's not a good look for him at all. And now he's gonna be back. He's gonna be fighting Joe Cordina next, since that's what's going to be going on next. Since Zepeda is not going to be fighting.
I think Joe Cordina lost, didn't
he? No, that fight was set up before Shakur. I think Shakur's supposed to fight Joe before his hand got broke.
Yeah, but didn't Cordina fight somebody?
Not yet. Recently, he's still off of that loss to Anthony Kakachi at 130. Kakachi caught him at the break and stuff like that. It is what it is, but I think because Cordina and Stevenson are friends. They go back to the Olympic era, to the Olympic days and stuff like that. Well, you got to
understand something. Go look at the last 5-6 fights that Shakur has fought. Everybody that he's fought has been somebody he's sparred with.
Yep, people he knows. People he knows.
He's gonna break a lot of people's hearts and wallets when the time comes. Bob warned us, and I listened, and I'm paying close attention to that moment that he opens the door to her cash register, because I'm gonna take that money.
Whether you like Bob or not,
I am an Errol Spence fan, and I know you are too, Chuck.
Absolutely.
So speaking of Errol Spence, what's going on with Frank Martin?
What's going on with what?
Frank Martin. What do you think he's going to do?
Well, with Frank Martin, Frank got the bag. Frank is enjoying the fruits of his labors right now. And I think Earl knows that Frank's got 2 fights waiting for him. He's got the damn, I'm about to say it. It was going to be Keyshawn Davis, but with Keyshawn has 2 fights already set up right now. He got I think Burchell next, and
that'll be fun. Him and Burchell will be a fun fight because Burchell's on a nice little run since his destruction, since his 2-fight setback. And I was a big Burchell fan, but I said if Valdez is on like the Valdez is supposed to be, because I always said if Valdez had the right coach in the right corner, he could have been a lot better than what he gave us. But since he stayed in the quote unquote Mexican style, I felt Valdez had the footwork and the rhythm when he first started to kind of evolve his style to be a very natural boxer puncher with power and pop and movement. We kind of saw a little bit of that at 126. Let
me ask y'all a quick question real quick, not cut you off, my brother.
Yeah.
What do you think of Frank Martin versus Rolly Romero?
Oh, okay.
Give it to me.
I'm just asking.
It to me. I like that because Frank would be an aggressor in that fight. I think Frank would be aggressive in that fight because I don't think he'd respect Rolly's.
Do you really think he will? Because I don't think he won't get aggressive until after the 5th round.
I think because he won't respect Rolly's IQ, which will be I'm not gonna respect your power either because you're not gonna know how to set up these shots. So I'm gonna see these. I'm gonna see it coming from a mile away. I'm a ghost. I'm there and I'm not. And Rolly has gotten better, and Ishmael Salas is doing a good job with Rolly because Rolly is shown to listen, but at the same time, Rolly is literally his own worst enemy because he will not throw straight punches. I do not know.
I think Rolly's biggest problem is footwork. To me, that's what it's always been. His footwork has always been his problem. If he had good footwork, he'd be a serious problem to more people than people think. But it also lets you know how important footwork really is. Yeah, it also speaks to how important. It speaks also how important footwork really is in boxing. He really lacks certain footwork where a lot of fighters have had their way with him that may not have their way with him if it was just about throwing punches. But it's not about just throwing punches. And but I'll say this about Rolly. Rolly has a good team around him. No, he got a good team around him, and he got a lot of people with access to making him better. If he don't get better, it ain't because he couldn't. He got the people around him.
He's with Ishmael Salas, who's one of the best coaches there is around. One of the best coaches of all time, and he does wonders if you listen. You know what I'm saying? I follow Japanese boxing too. He was Kazuto Ioka's coach. And Kazuto Ioka changed his style to be more aggressive at super flyweight, but now the age is catching up to him, Well,
Frank got a lot more gas in him than people know because he started a little late. And also, Frank is a 140 pounder. So I think if we want to see Frank in the future, I think Frank needs to go up to 140.
Okay.
Yeah. He'll be.
You think he'll have a little bit more to give? Yeah, he has a. I think he will be draining himself.
If you want that tank to last a little longer, if you want your career to go a little more further, let's put them extra 5 pounds, which means an extra 8 to 10 pounds by fight night is necessary to get the most maximum effort out of Frank Martin, especially for those 140 pounders, which I think Frank could beat some of them. I think Frank Martin versus Teofimo Lopez could beat Teofimo Lopez.
How about Frank Martin and Sabratius just to get his feet weight against someone who's going to be putting hands on him?
I think Matias would knock him out, even though I think Matias would lose to certain fighters. Styles. Okay. Just going back to style. I don't think Frank can keep that pressure off that for 12 rounds. Just like
Liam Paro did? You think Frank couldn't do what Liam Paro just did? You think Frank didn't do what Liam Paro did? And Liam Paro used a lot of angles. He didn't even move a whole lot. He really just kind of...
I would need to see it because Frank's gonna move. See, he's not Liam Paro. He's gonna move. And I saw a man get tired with a 135 pounder. What you think's gonna happen with a 140 pounder?
Understandable, giving him that pressure. I get you.
So, now, and add on to this, right? This is another reason why I think none of these guys beat. Go ahead.
But Sabrio's not that smart though. Sabrio had it hard, but Sabrio's never really had a really issue. Like he never really cut the ring off. You saw his fight against the guy who beat him. Like he only got 2 losses. And his last loss before this was someone who was able to move around, on him and stuff like that. Well, the only reason we're called
Parra handled his business, but I think Parra loses in a rematch if they was their fault again.
I mean, Parra got a hard matchup against Hitchison right now. He got Hitchison's up.
I'm very interested in that fight. I'm very interested in that fight.
Yeah, that's more interesting than people think it is because Hitchison can fight. We saw against Lemos, Hitchison can fight. If you didn't believe he could or had a chin, he got a chin and he's willing to bite down and fight. And we've seen Liam Paro can do a lot of things. We saw him shut up Montana Love, and we see him capture the belt in hostile territory nonetheless. In the heat of Puerto Rico.
Is Liam Paro gonna be able to go in the ring and outbox Richardson?
I don't think so.
He's gonna have to eventually sit down and fight, right?
I think he's coming to fight him. I don't think he's coming to box like he did against.
But that's all he is a boxer, right?
I think he's going to try and fight. No, I think he's going to try and be more aggressive and try and fight him how he did. He's going to try and fight Hitchison how he fought Montana Love. He was sitting down a little bit more on Montana Love, trying to cut down the ring a little bit more like he did on Montana Love. And eventually it got to the point where Montana dipped. He kept dipping and bang, uppercut. Oh, it was uppercut, and that was all she wrote. I don't think it's going to be that cut and dry against Hitchison because Hitchison's smart. He's really smart, but at the same time, I don't think. I just think it's going to be a good chess match. I think it's going to be a really good chess match between two guys with solid.
I like the fight. I like everything about it. I don't even know who to pick, but I'm leaning on Richardson because of I think it's going to come a point in that fight where the war is going to have to happen, and that's where Richardson I think is going to shine. But if Richardson goes in there and plays boxing, he can lose this fight.
I think that I feel what you're saying, but I think the war will be more on Paro's part because how can I say this? You as a fighter know when a guy is comfortable in a firefight and when he's just trying to get out of it. I don't think Hitchison was that comfortable throwing down with Lemos. He did what he had to do to get the respect, but that's not what he wants to do in a fight. You know what I'm saying? If he can choose to, stick to one gear shift, he's going to do that. Hitchison isn't trying to go to second and third gear unless he absolutely have to. I think by round 9 and 10, Liam's trying to get that second gear out. And hopefully with super neutral territory in Puerto Rico, hopefully the judges are super neutral, that Hitchison doesn't box himself out of the fight, as you say. I hope he doesn't box himself out of the fight.
Well, I hope Richardson understands one thing too in this fight. I have to at least get one knockdown in this fight. I hope he understands that.
Because these Aussies are tough. They've always been tough, and they're not going to give you anything unless you earn it. Devin was lucky that Kambosos respected that sting, that he didn't want to go inside, but Kambosos is willing to die in there before he gives you one. We saw that with Lomachenko, and
throwback fighter.
Look at same with Horn. Horn's tired now, but Jeff Horn said, "I'll fight anybody. I don't care. Pacquiao, Crawford, Zarapa. I don't care. The Aussie guys will fight anybody." So,
hey, fellas, I gotta go real quick. I got a little situation that needs my attention. I'm going to try to come right back. But beyond that, man, pleasure, Scoob. Bean, you already know it's the church. I'm talking about boxing till for life. I'll try to be right back.
All right, church. So, yeah, man, Scoob, you said you just got into watching boxing.
I got into boxing in 2013, 2012. I'm not really hardcore got into it at that time. I've been playing I got into boxing with video games, fighting Knockout Kings 2002, 2003, 2002. And I guess this kind of showed it was funny. The only knowledge I knew was that the GOAT was Sugar Ray Robinson. I was like 7 or 8. The only knowledge of boxing I knew was that the all-time GOAT was Sugar Ray Robinson. That was the only knowledge of boxing I knew. And anytime we played any boxing game, I was going to pick him. You know, did I know why he was the? Oh, what they said he was the only fighter with a 5-star rating. Even no one else had a full 5-star rating. So, then I got into boxing in the 2010s because of Adrian Broner. I can't even lie. Roy Jones Jr. made me want to be a fighter. Looking at Roy fight, he made fighting look cool to me. And he made me get into martial arts and stuff and showboat and stuff like that. But 2012, seeing Adrian Broner, it was Adrian Broner versus Litzau. I caught that fight, Jason Litzau, and I said, I know Litzau. I've seen him before. He's a good Midas. He's a good meter to test yourself up against. But at the same time, I think Broner is going to be special. Then he had what was that? Antonio DeMarco fight. Antonio DeMarco fight. Wiped the floor with them. And I was kind of sold on him. I liked his attitude. I liked his style. I liked his he was ready to talk trash. Then he had the Paulie Malignaggi fight. And I guess that kind of made me realize that there's more to boxing because I thought Paulie won the fight. And I really wasn't scared to say that as a Broner fan. Yeah, I thought Paulie squeaked it out due to sheer volume alone. So I wasn't afraid to say that as a Broner fan. I didn't think there was a problem to say that. If you're a fan, call out the win. But if they lose, you got to call out when they lose as well, because you don't want to be a part of that toxic fan. That's the reason boxing is the way it is right now. Badges and the fans are like, oh, at least he won. If he lost, he lost. If he won, he won. It's sadly, boxing is to where you got to look in between the lines a lot. Can't just the records. The records sometimes will deceive you from what actually happened if you don't actually look at the fight or and sometimes the scorecards will deceive you too if you even look at the scorecards. Boxing kind of hurt my feelings a lot the more I watched it. But then, little things, like Orlando Salido, Vasil Lomachenko. What's up?
What's up, fam? What's up?
What's up, my dude?
What's up? I'm just listening to homie spit. I'm just listening to homie spit. You feel me? That shit.
I appreciate it.
You can keep going,
so
fam.
I got into boxing, fam. And I enjoy Adrian Broner. I know Chad Dawson. Fan of Chad Dawson, and my heart was broken when he got iced out by Stevenson, Adonis Stevenson, but it's what it is on the chain and kept moving, it happens in boxing. I was a big fan of Sullivan Barrera, and then I saw him get iced out by Bivol, and those moments, and I didn't get bitter, and I've even seen robberies, plenty of robberies in boxing, at the same time, I still believe that I said, all boxing needs is one billionaire that just loves the sport enough to invest in it. That's all it needs. Because if that one person is out there that can do that, then boxing will be in one step closer to a better place. And it took till the 2020s, but we got Turki Al-Sheikh, and that's pretty much what he's doing. He's helping boxing move in a better step. Mainly because of matchmaking. And how do you get good matchmaking? He got the money to make you say yes, and that's what it. And I'm glad for it. How long were we waiting for? What? We haven't had a undisputed light heavyweight champion since really Bob Foster. Not Bob Foster, but what's his name? Spinks.
Roy Jones.
Since Jinx
Roy
Spinks.
Jones. Roy Jones was the last undisputed champion at light heavyweight, fam.
Okay, but I thought Darius Michael Shuvitsky held a fraction of the belt even at that time. He held the lineal belt and the WBO belt. The WBO.
Roy Jones was undisputed champion before the WBO became recognized by the IBF. So he didn't need 4 belts to become undisputed until the IBF recognized the WBO didn't. So, but Roy Jones was already undisputed.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious that the IBF wouldn't recognize. And FBI actually had to tell them to stop selling rankings. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Facts.
So, I digest. It took so long for look was it Stevenson and Kovalev were playing the runaround pretty much for so long. It took for and I'm glad that we were getting a new era of undisputed, like we kind of were in the 2000s. The 2000s, everyone's trying to become undisputed, welterweight, middleweight.
Okay, I don't want to be negative. Look, I don't want to be negative Nancy with the undisputed thing, but I'm gonna be negative Nancy here. I think the undisputed shit is kind of corny because a lot of promoters and boxers are using the fans' ignorance to promote ESPN style stats. You feel me? They'll fuck around and sit in front of your face and said, first undisputed, man, get the fuck out of here. No, it's not. You feel me? It's like 20 undisputed champions at welterweight division. You feel me? Like every fucking 90% of the welterweight champions before 1960 was considered undisputed because they had the New York State Athletic Championship and
before 1963 there was no commission. There was no like WBA came in 1963, 1964.
No, but before the WBA came in, it still exists as the NBA. It still exists as the NBA, the National Boxing.
The National Boxing.
And then the WBC actually came from the New York State Athletic Commission. So these two titles literally was always there. The New York Athletic Commission, the same group of people are the ones who became the WBC, and the same thing with the NBA, they became the WBA. So these shits was always there. And it was always undisputed champion because people always held both of those belts. So now what these promoters and new boxers doing. That's why I said 90%. So what these new boxers So what these new boxers and promoters are trying to do in order to beef up these fighters' weak ass resumes today, because the fans are gullible and shit. So what they try to do is say they'll start lying, they'll flat out lie to you in your face and say, this nigga's the first 3-time of this film. No, he's not. You feel me? No, he's not. And people look at me like I'm a hate. I said, no, I just follow this shit. I love this shit. You feel me? I follow this shit with the 40s. You feel me? So I know this shit's a lie. They do that.
Yeah, I'll digest on that because the argument is like, oh, it's in the modern era with the 4 belts. And I'm all, are we not remembering that Evander Holyfield literally unified cruiserweight with 3 belts and then came down and unified heavyweight with the 3 belts, but no one wants to talk about Evander? You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, didn't happen. Lennox did that shit, niggas. Like, you're gonna make me pretend this shit didn't happen, though, because you added another. So that means in 5 years from now, if boxing become greedy enough and they start recognizing the IBO, so the first person to get 5 votes, he's gonna be the new undisputed. That's what you about to do. Get the fuck nah, bro. That's why I don't like that shit, bro. I don't like that shit. That's why you got these Canelo fans talk about he's an all-time great. You feel me? Because they could use these arbitrary weak-ass stats, bro. That shit's ass.
Well, no,
I mean, ESPN do.
Well, no, I mean, Canelo. They say Canelo. In my opinion, I said, how are you gonna rate Canelo? I said he's not beating. I don't think he beats Winky Wright. You gotta start from the bottom. 154. I don't think he beats Winky Wright. I don't think he beats. He might. He might. And I don't. He's not better. And I don't.
He's not better than. I don't mean to cut you off. He's not better than Winky. Winky is way more skilled than him. But you got to realize the way Winky fights, Winky would do just enough for Canelo to get Canelo to walk away with a robbery.
Winky like to take off 12 rounds for some. Winky like to take off the 12th round. He like to think he had in the bag more than he did. You know, Vargas fight, he took off 12th round, and then the Taylor fight.
He takes out minutes of every round. He takes out minutes. Look, that's why he would lose the kid. For a nigga, if you know boxing, you would think Winky Wright win. But based off what I know of the judges, Winky would do just enough to make Canelo squeak out with a fucking controversial victory. That's who Winky is.
Well, I understand you to a degree. It all depends on who you got in front of Winky. You know what I'm saying? Winky against Vargas. Winky pretty the whole fight against Vargas. You know what I'm saying? But this was an HBO guy, and he already had a fight with Ike Cortez lined up. You know what I'm saying? I understand Winky did. I'm gonna win 7 rounds, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? He did it he did have that mentality a lot of times in fight. But look at the Trinidad fight. He won 2 Trinidad all night. He beat Mosley up all night. You know, depending on who was in front of him, you know, he gonna do the thing. You know, the sad thing is the Taylor fight. He gave up. I understand. He literally gave that fight up. He did not fight in like round 11 and round 12. And sadly, I'm like, bro, Taylor's right there to be knocked out.
But you know, in a way. Canelo also has the level of popularity that you need a knockout just to get a draw. You feel me?
He on Chavez level. He on Chavez senior level. Because look at Chavez had close fights, but it took Frankie Randall But no,
No
I'm not trying to get.
slander.
I'm sorry. I ain't trying to slander Chavez, but I'm saying like it took Frankie Randall to get a knockdown to really solidify. Okay, Chavez lost his fight. You know, because and that's what it's going to take against look at Canelo. Canelo had to lose literally 11 rounds against Bivol for them to give him a 7-5 win.
112. Yeah.
Yeah, to make it that tight. Yeah.
115, 113. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, what? I'm like, hold on, interview the judges. Interview the judges.
Nigga, he lost every round of Floyd and when somebody gave him a 114 card.
Hold on, Adelaide Bird. What were you watching?
Yeah, what yo, she took a bathroom break, bro. She literally gave this dude 6 rounds. Like where did you find 6 rounds? Where?
She signed that shit out before the fight even started.
On a brown paper bag with a brown paper bag.
She feel how Oscar, what you say? 6 of? Okay, I got you, Oscar. I got you. That's what that was. You know what I'm saying? Like it you know, sadly, but like, do I think, you know, Canelo beats Michael McCallum? Not really, you know. And then if you go up to middleweight, that's a whole nother bag of worms. Does he beat a Roy Jones Jr.? Does he beat a Bernard Hopkins? Does he beat a James Toney?
Never.
Like, and you can't even, and that's before you even get to.
James Toney would really do him bad because
dirty.
James Toney might not be mobile as Floyd. He may not be as mobile as Floyd, but he's just as nasty, just more skills in the pot. Oh my, and he's nastier than Floyd. So
you remember
talk to him too.
He gonna talk to him sweet. He gonna talk sweet in between fights, in between rounds.
Remember in round 7 when Floyd caught Canelo with an uppercut and Canelo just backed up into the rope and he just looked demoralized, like, damn, I don't even want to fucking do this shit no more. But Floyd being who Floyd is, Floyd didn't jump in. James Toney would have fucked you up if you showed weakness like that against him. That shit he did against Bivol.
James Toney said the same thing
when he quit. Yeah.
James Toney said the same thing. James Toney said himself, if I fought Canelo, I give him an uppercut that make him rethink boxing.
Facts.
And I'm boy. Oh my boy.
Hey, Zoe, what do you think about what do you think Devin Haney gonna do next?
Man, I'm not sure who he fights next, but I would love to see him go to 147 and fight Barrios. That is so easy. Barrios is so trash, bro. That is the most easiest belt you can get. Next to Lamont Roach.
He needs to move up.
Belts to get.
I agree with that. He needs to move up because he was killing himself at 135. He killing himself still at 140, which is crazy to say. You know what I'm saying? Because 135 to 140 is a big jump for as fighters say. You know, but the fact that he may need 147 right now, you know, that all the questions about Devin have been answered. He can fight. He can take a punch. He can get up. He got dog in him. The issue is now is his pride. He wanted to, you know, the suing thing isn't good, and the fact that he hasn't even. Ryan's about to fight in like February or something, you know, in a it's an exhibition, but he's still about to be active. Come on, Devin, you can't let Ryan get more active than you right now. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta say something, and you look bad. You look in the Andre Ward interview, like you look like bad in that. What?
You don't like the lawsuit?
No, not really. No, because I mean,
look at it from a business sense. Look at it from a business sense.
I agree from a business sense. Look at
Did you see the first bid? Did you see the first bid? You saw the first bid for him and Sandor Martin. Did you see the first bid for him? Wait, was it Sandor Martin Barboza? Who was the first bid for? I forget.
It's 64 split, 20-30 split per WBC.
But it was like what was it, like $1 million?
Yeah, it was 1.1 or 1.2.
Do you think if the fight, if he beats Ryan Garcia, you think he still gets that should go to first bid for 1.2 mil if he beats Ryan Garcia? That 1.2 mil is showing you how bad your value went down from that loss. That's what it says. No. So that's why he's saying that should damage. That's why he's saying, yeah, I'm suing because you cheated and that should damage my ability to make money. Well, and I agree with that. It did.
From a business standpoint. From a business standpoint, I understand because I understand that because look at it from a PR standpoint also. you know, Ryan cheats, Ryan misses weight, you know what I'm saying, gets caught cheating, and then Devin's still the bad guy because he looked bad in the fight. I have never in my life of watching boxing seen a fighter take, you know, have the 8-ball stacked against him that much, and then people don't have the sympathy against him, because if you understand boxing, you know, the weight should have been that big of a factor, but weight does play a factor at times. And then the fact that Ryan took something that hit his weight the week of the fight should play into a factor of it. But people are just like, oh, you know, Devin, we don't like that. No, we wish it happened to somebody we like, in a sense. And I'm just like, this is retarded.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I want Devin, and you're right, Devin versus Barrios is nice. You know, Devin versus Barrios is really great. But, you know, Barrios just called out Boots. And that's interesting. You know, Barrios just called out Boots. And that's interesting.
Barrios sucks.
No, because with how Boots just looked recently, Boots just showed that if you get inside, he has an issue with creating distance. Barrios is trying to get on the inside. So that's to find a little bit more interesting.
You can't find no footage, but you can't find me any footage of Barrios fighting on the inside. You can't find me any footage of him doing that. That's irrelevant. Beats
Barrios, regardless.
He does still beat Barrios. I didn't say what. I just said it was an interesting fight now because from what I saw with.
I'm just saying you made a point. You said that the last fights against Karen showed that Boots might struggle in the inside because you can't distance. I said you can't show me no footage of Barrios ever being on the inside. There's
the
no
fight against the fight against Bakhtar Akhmadev. That's the fight where he was fighting on the inside against. And he was in that shit on the side. He fought that motherfucking mid-range distance. He was getting his ass whooped until he stopped him. I mean, until he got until he hurt him. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, Barrios is not nice, bro. Barrios is a C-class fighter. He's boxing though, because he's gonna fight everybody. He's good for boxing. He's gonna fight everybody, regardless of his stance. He's gonna fight everybody though. You know, from Tank to Thurman to Abel Ramos to Ugas.
See, the thing is that I'm about to get to it. There's a lot of people. Because I'm not those guys who hate on PVC, but at the same time, guys who glaze PVC either. You feel me? So
no, they have an issue. They have an issue with their matchmaking for a long time.
I seen it. No, because I see what people do. Like it doesn't. It's like you can see somebody before somebody fights Tank. You could watch this guy. You be like, yo, this guy sucks. And then he fights Tank, and because Tank is not as good as people say he is, and the fight's a little competitive, that guy becomes suddenly, oh, this guy's nice. Barrios is ass, bro. Like, you know he's ass. The Akhmadev fight showed you his ass. Why are we pretending this guy's not ass? We're talking about, Boots fight's interesting. This guy sucks. How's that interesting? Because of the slaughter? He sucks. What does he do at a decent level, bro? I don't get it, bro. It's like once somebody fights Tank, and they was doing the same thing with Errol Spence when the Errol Spence versus Bud thing was going on. Everybody who Errol Spence fought, I'm not saying these guys wasn't nice because he was nice, but they turned these guys into Hall of Famers. People say Sean Porter was like better than James Toney. I mean, people were saying that shit when Errol Spence beat him. That's disgusting. I hate these people. Get these people out of boxing. Y'all need me to educate people.
That's just not educated fans in a sense talking about stuff that they don't know, because James Toney was always his worst enemy. But if you actually know boxing, James Toney had a pituitary gland issue from football. You know what I'm saying? If you know what the pituitary gland does, that jacks with your emotions, that jacks up with your weight. You know what I'm saying? And your testosterone. And the fact that this dude was still able to cut 50 pounds to make 160, you know what I'm saying, and become the number one middleweight, number one super middleweight, the number one cruiserweight, and at one point in time, a top 5 heavyweight. You know, it's kind of, and the fact that James gets as much hate as he does, and he's arguably the last real throwback fighter, you know what I'm saying, that we had, who was fighting all the time, who wanted all the smoke, no matter what, up and down weight classes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I miss James Toney. I wish we had a fighter like James Toney, because a fighter with the skill set of James Toney in modern day isn't moving how James Toney did in his era. You know what I'm saying? That's just how boxing has moved, sadly. If you have the skills of a James Toney, you wouldn't be fighting as often and the dangerous composition that James fought at his peak. You know what I'm saying? James fought, Mike and Roy and Reggie Johnson and Michael Nunn. You know what I'm saying? Murky Sosa. He fought really good and dangerous competition in and out. Iran Barkley, you know what I'm saying? And And I didn't really think Eron Barkley was a lot to write about, but at the same time, Eron Barkley got power. He's tough, and he had a bit of IQ.
Controversial opinion: Roberto Duran got robbed that night. If you rewatch that fight,
That
man,
could
we
have
watched
went either
Roberto
way.
Duran versus Barkley. I think Duran got shafted that night, man.
Duran
fight-
versus who?
Barkley.
I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, I feel like Duran got shafted, man.
I mean, I thought Rafael Benitez did enough to beat Hearns when they fought. I thought Benitez did enough to beat Hearns when they fought, but that's my opinion. You know, I thought Reggie Johnson did enough to beat James Toney.
I felt Hearns completely dominated Leonard in the second fight, and the judges were smoking crack.
They were on
They're smoking it with Leonard.
They're on fentanyl, bro. They was on that good cushion alcohol.
I swear, I gave Leonard 2 rounds, and he got knocked down 3 times. How the hell do you get a draw out of that, bro?
I had Leonard winning 4 rounds, but Hearns got the two knockdowns plus the other 6 plus the other 7 rounds. Yeah, 8 rounds. That books were cooked. Like to say, the books were cooked for that fight.
Yeah, that books were cooked, bro. The script was written.
Hey, Scoob.
Yeah,
Scooby. I got time for one more last subject.
What's up?
We gotta get ready to close out, but. What do y'all think about the rematch, Usyk versus Fury?
I got Usyk.
And why?
Fury. I think Fury, in my opinion, I called him the modern day Riddick Bowe. I said Fury was damn near the perfect heavyweight, but his own self-sabotage would pop in high.
That's disgusting.
Retirement, ballooning up to 300 plus pounds, and now and in the drugs, stuff like that, and then making his comeback, and then the wars with Wilder. We're seeing it take its toll. We saw it take its toll in the Ngannou fight. You know what I'm saying? And now we're seeing the fact that his body is all that leading up to him is catching up to him now. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't have that extra gear. He has no third gear. All he got is 1 and 2. He doesn't have anything more to worry Usyk. Anything that he did in 1, that's all he got for 2, in my opinion. I think Usyk wins more convincingly.
Okay, what do you think, Zoe?
I feel like this time around, Usyk is Fury is gonna listen to what everybody's been saying, and he's gonna try to walk Usyk down. Not that that's gonna be a mistake, and he's gonna get countered all night, and then he's gonna get.
I feel the same way.
He gonna walk right into that. He gonna walk into them beats by Dre. But yeah, I think Usyk was. I think Usyk not see Fury get stopped for the first time.
Yeah, my fault. I don't know what happened.
Oh yeah, no, you were saying.
Well,
you good?
I feel the same way, bro. That Fury gonna try to come on that front foot, try to cut off the ring.
And you're gonna get counted all fucking night. You're gonna get countered, spun, pivoted, pop shot, and you're gonna get stopped in 8 or 9 rounds. Because for some reason, a lot of people are convinced that what the style that Tyson Fury used in the first fight was the wrong style. No, that was the perfect style. That was the best way to beat Usyk, and it didn't work. It didn't work. That was his best style. Was for him to use the long guard to keep him at bay and try to counter him and try to counter him coming in. He started having success around round 3 to 5, and then Usyk just made the adjustment. You feel me? He made the adjustment. He upped the tempo. He couldn't handle the tempo. He couldn't time him no more coming in. He just started getting caught.
Pace. It's the pace because of all that. Because he's big and he can't move. He used to move for 12 rounds. This ain't Vladimir Fury no more. If this was Vladimir Fury, you know what I'm saying? We're talking about a whole other type of fight. But this is post. Vladimir, post drugs, post 350 pounds, post, all this, Wilder trilogy, you know what I'm saying? That really, his punch resistance is down, his movement is down, and And I think Usyk just gonna start at gear 2 from round 1. He's just gonna start at a second gear from round 1 and push Fury and see how much he can. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think Usyk takes round 2 or 3 off. I think Usyk starts off pretty quickly this go around.
Yeah. No, I think
I don't even beat Usyk to be honest.
I think we all agree Usyk wins.
Yeah, we all agree Usyk win, man. I'm gonna even go a step further, man. I'm gonna go a step further. Whoever thinks Fury's an all-time great been bamboozled, bro. I've been bamboozled. Based on what?
He isn't.
Based on
He
what?
isn't an all-time great.
Based on what? What showed you that? The McDermott fight?
Chisora 3 times.
Exactly.
Chisora sucks.
McDermott fight.
Chisora sucks. You know Chisora sucks. Don't lie to yourself. Chisora sucks.
Ducking Vladimir for the rematch, popping hot, then ducking Vladimir by retiring. People don't even talk about that.
Getting
you know what I'm saying?
Six times, getting dropped 6 times to a limited fighter like Wilder, bro. It's unforgivable. Your ass. You got dropped 6 times. Wait, was it 6? 4 times against Wilder. 4 times against Wilder is disgusting. Wilder's not even good. How you get if you're supposed to be this high IQ fighter, how the hell you get dropped by this guy 4 times?
I mean,
you lost to watch the McDermott fight. He didn't win that fight, bro. You lost to McDermott. That's a regional level dude.
Yeah, he lost to a very C-level fighter with McDermott, and then had the nerve to struggle with Otto Wallen.
Otto Pucci Walla, bro. Yo, I'm gonna have to hit you guys up later. My girl is blowing up my phone. My fault. They should keep distracting me.
No, you cool, brother.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, bro, you straight. Well, Bean, this it? You about to call it a night?
Yeah, man. So, like, just to wrap it up on the Fury Usyk, I don't want to sound biased because people will say I'm only saying what Usyk will exhibit in the fight. So let me talk about Fury. If Fury is to win, I would agree with what Zoe was just saying. What he did in that first fight, he kind of got to mix it up. Go to the body. Keep the distance. When he does get in close, if he does, get in the range where he can try to get that uppercut off. Because our uppercuts, if you can land them on Usyk, they do be very hurtful.
They're detrimental. They're detrimental.
But he's not going to beat him trying to fight him like he did in the Wilder rematch. That's a recipe for disaster.
No. I mean, Usyk is such a nightmare for these modern day heavyweights. And I told someone, I said, "Do you know who would beat Usyk? Holyfield."
Yeah.
And some people don't believe me when I say they're like Holyfield. I'm like, because Holyfield got the mobility. He has the mobility and he punches in combinations. And Holyfield got speed in both hands, and he got a chin, and power, and he's really smart. He's an Olympic silver medalist.
And he got
you know
stamina.
what I'm saying?
He got conditioning.
He can fight for 8 straight rounds. Like fight you 8 straight rounds. Unheard of. So, and not to mention, he won championships in the 15-round era. So he can go. You know what I'm saying? Fighting are serious. Your first championship was against all people. You know what I'm saying? So I said it would take someone like that, but there isn't close to Usyk is the Holyfield. That's the crazy thing. Usyk is the Holyfield for this generation.
Right.
You know, and
he's him without the instinct Holyfield had. Usyk's very seasoned and good all the way around, but Holyfield,
he doesn't have that killer instinct. That's it.
He had that killer instinct. He take it up another notch. Holyfield
will go Usyk don't want to hurt people. Holyfield will kill you if he has to.
Yeah,
that was the difference between 2 of them. So it's going to take another throwback type of fighter to beat Usyk, but a long one. And Fury, and there isn't really. And notice what it took to beat Holyfield. It took a disciplined Moore. It took a disciplined Lennox Lewis. It took a disciplined Riddick. You know, there aren't any high IQ level heavyweights in the modern era right now. There just aren't. You know. So I don't even know who beats Usyk if he doesn't retire undefeated, in my opinion.
Right.
I don't like Dubois should stay as far away from Usyk as possible because he said
Right.
on a rematch, and I say, sir, enjoy your heavyweight championship reign. Y'all should be lucky that Usyk just gave that up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm glad Dubois won that belt. I'm glad he did from Joshua. Dubois was hell, I don't know about you, but the fight against Hergovic made me believe Dubois because I kind of lost hope in Dubois.
Right. He had a rebound.
The rebound was crazy. Dubois. And I lost hope in him, not in the Usyk fight, because Usyk beats everybody. I lost hope in the Joe Joyce fight like everybody else did.
Right.
And then to see kind of crazy careers after that, Joe Joyce is pretty much out of the heavyweight stratosphere at this point, and Dubois is the heavyweight champion. It's weird how boxing works itself out at times with who wins and who loses.
And who loses? Yep. Yeah. Man, this was some good dialogue, brother.
Definitely,
I appreciate you, man.
Definitely, I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me. Same time next week.
On the in the future. And I'd like to chop it up with you, or if you're on Messenger or whatever, and just talk.
Yeah, whenever, bro. Just hit me up whenever. No, definitely. I can be and I can do this, the cast sometime. Whenever you're doing it next Sunday.
Probably so. Yep, next Sunday, same time.
All right, I'll be there. I'll hop in. Definitely, y'all a great conversation. It's great to have some positive, knowledgeable boxing conversation.
For sure, man. Yeah, we need that, brother.
Yeah, especially in this modern media.
Yep. You on the FB boxing groups?
I'm in MMA. I follow. If you get punched in the face, I pretty much follow it. So I follow MMA. I follow boxing, kickboxing. I'm into sports as well. So I follow baseball. No, I follow basketball, football. I'm a nerd, so I play video games. Right now, I'm writing anime right now. So that's what I do in my spare time. So, but I'm a nerd who learned how to fight. Pretty much, that's what happened with me. I was a comic book nerd and a video game nerd who got into combat sports.
Okay.
I did a little bit of writing internship for Bleach. No, I don't like playing the game of journalism. I realized that I don't like playing a game.
That's what's up, my guy. Well, I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up, man. But we'll do it again.
All right.
Next
you have a good
Sunday
night, my man.
6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, definitely.
Right. Take care of yourself.
You too, my man. You too.
All right, man. Peace. We just got done wrapping up a live. We on here for a good minute, so y'all can run this back if you missed it. So as always, shout outs to all the guests that came on tonight. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. If you're in the chat room right now, hit the thumbs up. If you get on this tomorrow or this week, hit that thumbs up as you enter. It really helps. And make sure you tell a friend or two to subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next round. Peace.